it, Andy Campbell, it's in! Campbell comes off the bench to be a hero, a superhero. Breakthrough. It's taken a while, but it's been worth the wait for Cardiff City.
Hey guys, and welcome to episode number 21 of the Andy Campbell Championship Show, only on ACEcast Nation. It is the last show of 2019, the last show of the decade, and could be the last recorded show. You never know. You just don't know what's coming in 2020. The fat man has been, everyone has eaten, and most definitely drunk too much. Drunk so much that my beer's turned invisible. And now we are coming to the end of the year. This will probably be out on Wednesday, which is actually New Year's Day, but we're recording it on Monday. And indeed, it's been a very interesting year, very interesting weekend of football. The championship was crazy again this week, and we'll be talking about lots and lots of it. So, I'm your host, Si. And I'll be joined by ex-Premier League and Championship striker, Cardiff City legend, Mr. Andy Campbell, who we'll meet in a minute. And as usual, we'll start with the Any Other Business. Then we'll have our three main featured games from the weekend's rounds of matches. We'll then focus on those in detail, as well as talking all the other games. We'll give our 2 for 2, where we select 2 players each who've had either a nightmare or a blinder. Andy will answer your questions, no matter how weird. And I've got some questions to answer today as well, which is must be Christmas. Must be. And then we will finish off with the best 10-second segment in radio, TV, or internet. It's the Fake Geordie Bingo Lingo, where Andy will teach me something about his northern culture. So, our release schedule has been a bit different. In the run-up to Christmas, as we released those 10 shows in 10 days, was very busy, very interesting. And if I could go back in a time machine, I probably wouldn't do it because it was a bit stressful. But it's done. It was a lot of fun. We had lots of shows, lots of different guests, and it was basically just a thank you for the support and the helping the channel grow. And indeed, the show, the Andy Campbell Championship Show, is our weekly flagship show. It's the most downloaded, most viewed show each week on YouTube. The 10 days of ACEcast included the new episode of the Danny Batten MMA show. We had 2 episodes of the Unscripted and Uncensored with Bellator fighter Tom Mearns, UFC's Jack Tank Shaw, former BBC journalist Anna Brees, ex-Manchester United defender Derek Brazil, and plenty of others. Derek in particular was literally one of my favourite shows to record so far. It was what a character. He's a top bloke. And he was talked about his time as part of Fergie's fledglings, his long period at Cardiff, and his dabble with management. And he didn't hold back, which makes always the best shows they are, mate, is when the guests don't hold back.
Yeah.
But none of this would be possible without you guys, the numbers, the guests, the sponsorships, most importantly, our growth. All our shows and series are available in video format at youtube.com/ACEpodcastNation and audio at the usual podcasting platforms. Just pick your favorite and subscribe. Happy New Year, and thank you. Let's get into the show. Joining me to talk about all of these subjects and more, providing his expert and insight, easy for me to say, analysis and witty banter, is the one and only, the goal collector, Dave Jones's unwanted stepchild, the Millennium Stadium's king, the pie-face goals celebrating Andy Campbell. Welcome, buddy. How's it going?
Good evening, my mate. Yeah, good, mate, yeah.
Good Christmas?
Yeah, it's been a good Christmas, yeah. It was like Santa Claus delivered like loads of goals, though, didn't he, over the week? So it's been a goal fest.
Especially Saturday. Boxing Day.
Weekend
was,
Boxing Day was a bit wasn't as good, but on Sunday, wasn't it? Sunday was just rain goals. Certain games, rain goals. Some good ones as well, by the way.
Some very interesting results, mate, as well. They were all over the place as usual.
Strange, yeah. Couldn't pick a team. Can't pick a team to win.
Yeah, never do a championship ACCA. It's the
No.
rules.
No.
Just never do it. But we talked about the 10 days of ACEcast and YouTube, etc. So we've just got our sponsorship to talk about, which we're actually going to do later in the show today, just to freshen things up a bit. Keep it fresh. That's what I like to do. So we will start, as per bloody usual, with any other business, which is fast becoming one of my favourite parts of the show.
Yeah.
As we talk about the goings-on around the football world.
Around football, like it.
David Gomez, I got to start you first. David Moyes, West Ham United.
No, I'm not having it. I just, if anybody out there's got David Moyes' agent's number, please pass it on to me. 'Cause the bloke's a magician. He's just, he keeps falling. He's like a cat. He's got 9 lives. Just falls on his feet everywhere he goes. That fella. I'm not saying he's not talented, because he's got to have some talent there, but it's the jobs he gets. And you know what I mean. We've got a lot of West Ham followers on here, and the feedback what's come out of that is negative, ridiculous. It's not, you know what I mean. West Ham have gone from coming out with they want a big manager, they want to move forward, they want to push into the top 4. How on earth that can happen with a David Moyes in charge? I just can't see it. I just can't ever see it happening. You know what I mean? You've got somebody. I'll use another club, Wolves, for example. You know what I mean? I'm not a massive fan of their manager, the way that he's handled himself in the Championship with Cardiff and Middlesbrough and in other games, but he's very effective. He's got an infectious way of playing, and that's how you try and get into the top 4, not by being defensively orientated and negative. So not for me, Si. I'm not having it, and I hope West Ham turn it around. I hope they do well, because you know, I mean, that football club cannot go in the Championship, because if it does, it'll get swallowed up. Because imagine London Stadium in the Championship. No team will. Everyone will love going there and look forward to playing there. So it'll be a disaster.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's failed miserably everywhere he's gone since Everton.
Yeah.
Especially when he was at West Ham the first time. The fans hated him. They don't want him back. So he's going to get no time from them.
No.
They're now annoyed with the owners because they've put Moyes in place. And to me, Pellegrini won the league. All right, he had a lot of money to spend. It's Man City, blah, blah, blah. He still won the league with Man City.
Yeah.
How is David Moyes a better option than Pellegrini? I just don't get it, mate. There must have been better options till the end of the season.
It doesn't make sense to me. You know what I mean? Well, I don't know. For me, you might as well have kept him in charge. You know what I mean? If that's your option, I'd have just kept him. I just you know what I mean? You've got to look around first, and you know what I mean? That was obviously, the deal was done behind Pellegrini's back, and that makes it even worse. That he was their number 1 option. That makes it even worse.
Yeah, it makes no sense to me, because if I was in charge of them and it was Pellegrini or Moyes, I'd probably keep Pellegrini. But you had to get rid of him, David Moyes wouldn't even be in my top 10. I don't think.
No, I totally agree.
I would rather have Sam Allardyce till the end of the season.
Yeah.
Make sure you stay up, and then because I don't think David Moyes gives them the same guarantee that Sam Allardyce does to stay up.
Yeah.
In any way, because at least if Sam Allardyce would to come in there, for an example, Sam Allardyce goes in there, the players would respect him. I don't think David Moyes will have the respect of some of those players, particularly the ones who are more familiar with his work, like the British players. I just can't see how they're going to have any respect for him as a manager.
Yeah, I totally agree. Si, I look at that. I look at the players he's played with. You know what I mean? The players who's played for him. Sorry, and you know what I mean. Everton, when they did really well, it was Leighton Baines in his prime. You know what I mean? So the Duncan Fergusons, you know what I mean? These kind of players, and you know what I mean. They were a different breed back then. You know what I mean? He's gone to Man United with different players, stars of the game, world class players who won trophies, won medals, and he failed. He failed massively, and you know what I mean. Surely West Ham looked at that and thought, should we not? You know what I mean? Look what he did at Everton. You can't look back that far. You've only got to look at the job that he did last. You know what I mean? And and he didn't do a great job at Sunderland as well. You know what I mean? So he's failed more recently than he has had success. So I do feel really sorry for West Ham because we're a massive club, and I've got a few friends who are West Ham fans. So you know what I mean? Always been quite a club that I always look for. You know what I mean? So be interesting to see where they go forward.
Yeah.
So we'll be speaking in 2 weeks, and they'll have won 5 out of 5 and make me and you look stupid. You know what I mean? They'll beat Man City, Liverpool, Tottenham. They'll beat everybody away from home. They'll just something will happen. You know what I mean? It always happens.
He won't be the first person from Preston or linked with Preston to make us look silly. That's all I can say.
No, we don't have a good affiliation with Preston at the minute.
No, we don't. Mate, 2 seconds. I'm not having it at all. David Moyes is not a fan. I gotta be honest, but
no,
I just don't understand it. Is the main issue? And like you say, they've got a couple of few followers from who follow West Ham, who follow the show and the channel, and not many of them have been too positive either. So
no,
I know it's not just us, at least.
No.
Yeah. So what else you got, mate?
We mentioned it a few weeks ago. So we mentioned Mr. Morelos from Rangers and yesterday's, or was it Sunday? Sunday's Old Firm derby. So sat down to watch it, really excited. I thought Rangers were excellent. I thought he was fantastic. I thought he led the line really well, and just reminded me that I remember saying that he could sit into every championship side, a lot of Premier League teams, and lead the line really well. And then he goes and lets himself down with the most stupidest dive in the last minute and get himself sent off. He's already on a yellow card, and he thinks it's a clever thing to do to throw himself on the grounds when there's nobody really near him. You know what I mean? He was at minimal contact and just get himself another yellow card. It's just a fellow just doesn't learn. His discipline record is just horrific, and he's let himself down, his team down, his fans down. And this was one of the biggest occasions of the club's history, really. The first time they've beaten Celtic away from home in 9 years, and he goes and does something like that, and he just drives me mad.
Yeah, I mean, look, we stuck up for him a couple of weeks back when he got sent off for celebrating the winning goal in front of the opposing fans. We just kind of thought it was stupid, bit of common sense from the referee, and it wouldn't have needed to be this thing. And apparently he's going to be in trouble again because he was making cutthroat gestures. The article I read wasn't very clever. I don't know whether it was directed at fans or the referee. The article wasn't very well written, to be honest. But apparently the Scottish FA are looking into that. And at the moment, his discipline and getting sent off all the time hasn't cost him points that I'm aware of. No. Obviously, they still won the other week and they've beaten Celtic here. But eventually it will. It will cost him a win, or it will cost him points.
But it's not just the games he's playing, Si, as well. Look, now he's going to miss
the ones he's missing.
You know what I mean? So he's going to miss at least one more game, at least one game. So, you know what I mean? All right, they've got good players in substitute, but at the same time, you know what I mean? You want your best team out. It just doesn't make sense to me that Stevie Gerrard, you know what I mean? He must be pulling his hair out because he might as well cash in and go and bring somebody else in because you'll get good money for him. You know what I mean? You've got January on the window, but who's gonna sign a player who's a little bit of a loose cannon and just keeps on letting his team down week in, week out? It's just...
Yes, it's weird, isn't it? Because he is really, really good player, and Rangers need him. What do you think Gerrard's doing? Do you think he's doing a good job with Rangers?
He's doing a good job, but has he really been tested? That Frank Lampard, for example. So I can compare the two. That Frank stuck himself in the Championship. You know what I mean? He did really well. I thought he moved to Chelsea probably earlier than I thought he could handle it. And look at the job he's doing now. He's gone to Arsenal. He's tactically very inept. He's doing really well. He's tactically very aware. He's doing really well. And you know what I mean? People who said he'd fail. You know what I mean? He's over exceeding from what I thought he was going to do. So I think the only way for Stevie to be tested is if he comes down south and tests himself in the English leagues. And you know what I mean? He's probably going to have to go to the Championship though, because I don't think, unless he goes straight to Liverpool, which won't happen in the next 3-4 years, I'm guessing, that, you know what I mean, it's going to be too much of a jump from one to the other.
Yeah, see, I'm torn with Gerrard. I've mocked him a lot over the years for his slip costing Liverpool the title, which is only like his messing about. But as a player, I always found him like this. This is going to annoy people now, but there we go. This I always find him quite hypocritical as a player because he always gets put up on like this pedestal of being like this, the loyal Liverpool player, and he gets bandied about in the like same sentences as like Giggs and Scholes and Neville, who were like one club players, which technically he is, but in reality, if Liverpool hadn't matched Chelsea's offer, I forget what year it was. He was in between like a tournament. He would have left. He'd agreed to go. Chelsea agreed a fee. It was done, and that kind of rubs me up the wrong way a bit because I kind of think, well, I don't blame him for wanting to leave because he's one of those players, like he's one of the best players to play in the Premier League and never won the title.
Yeah.
But I don't blame him for wanting to go and win that, that trophy elsewhere. It just bugs me a little bit. However, saying that, I think, no one really knew what he was going to do at Rangers because you just don't know.
No.
The Scottish League really is so difficult to gauge from what, from what's the quality difference? What's it going to, is he going to go in and struggle? Is he going to go in and do well? And then when he comes back to whatever job, is the jump too much? You just don't know.
Yeah.
And obviously, I think like at the moment, Celtic have got a bigger wage budget, more money to spend because obviously Rangers financially screwed themselves over or got screwed over by their owners. And they're still kind of working their way back up to where they're, past glories, if you like. I think for Scottish football, it'd be amazing for Rangers to win that title, whether it's this year or, in a couple of years, because for Scottish football, you need it to be more than just Celtic winning the league every year by 15 points. And you just need that. And
it's got to be competitive side, isn't it? There's got to be something behind it. And, like what I mean? They're both doing really well in Europe at the minute, so maybe that might put him back on the map a little bit and really test him out because, in the league games, he's not really getting tested out week in, week out. You know what I mean? It's only probably a handful of games a season. And, if Celtic do win the league, then has he failed? Has he succeeded? Is he, it's a tough one because, then if he succeeds and Neil Lennon's failed, you know what I mean? So it's an interesting one. They can't both succeed, can they?
But then, I think if Rangers was to finish second by like a point or two, I think that closing the gap to that small would probably kind of further down the line, people would look back and say maybe that's, he did a good job. But obviously Rangers fans would be frustrated having lost out on the league by a point or two.
Yeah.
But, he's gotten to within a few points of Celtic now. He's put a good team together. They're playing good football. And, they've just beaten Celtic at Celtic, which hasn't been done in just nearly a decade. So you've got to give him kudos.
Yeah, totally agree.
But so Stevie Dollar, as he's affectionately referred to by myself, he's a quality player, if nothing else. So, what else we got? Armpit offsides and VAR.
Armpit offside. Yeah, VAR's. I don't want to go on about it too long because it's just annoying me the amount of time that we probably give it, and maybe that's the same for everybody, every pundit, every football show you talk about it. But it's this armpit offside. It seems to be every decision at the minute is you're offside by the armpit. And Conor Cody did a really interesting interview after the Liverpool game about that the players don't even know the rules, and you know what I mean, that no one's ever explained what the rules are to them, and you know what I mean. Which for me, VAR's good if you're using it for the right way, but I think offside at the minute, if it's that minimal, then let the referees and let the linesmen make their own judgment, and if it's a mistake, it's human error, because you know what I mean. The minute every team, and that's the other point is every team's at the minute are celebrating non goals. And you know what I mean? Like Liverpool at Anfield, and the fans are celebrating like non-goals, and I just think, where's football going, or where's it gone? Where's football gone that we've had to celebrate non-goals? And it is such a shame because, you know what I mean. Jamie Carragher put something on social media today about teams who suffered to to the decisions of VAR. And at the minute, Sheffield United are -5. You know what I mean? They're the team who's been hit the most this season. And you know what I mean? They've had a really good season as well. Chris Wilder's done an amazing job. But imagine if those 5 goals or 5 decisions would go for them. You know, where would they be? They'd be in the top 3.
Well, you look at, I'm sure, I don't know if Jamie Carragher mentioned it. Someone mentioned yesterday that if Liverpool hadn't got their VAR decisions, their goal difference would be somewhere around where Norwich's is, because they've had so many goals. You know, some of them have probably been rightly allowed, but I've seen a few which haven't as well. You know, that's the difference between a league title and not.
Yeah,
like
of course,
that Premier League title's over now.
Yeah.
But if, say, I don't know, out of those 19 goals, if, say, 9 of them were wrong decisions, you know, that's a big difference, isn't it? 9 goals.
And I think this is the thing, because Michael Owen came out and said that the officials have got it all right because VAR's got it right, but you can't say that, because it's just taking away what football is, because football's been a man-made sport, hasn't it? Where it's been made by decisions by the naked eye, and you know what I mean. It's just changed. It's just changing massively, and it's just changing for the worse until somebody just gets it all fit and proper again, and just makes the decision. So players know, and then when players know, then fans will know, hopefully.
Yeah, I'd rather it is the Championship, goal line technology, and everything else is down to the referee and linesman. If you get some decisions wrong, whatever, more to talk about.
Yeah.
And I prefer that way. I just think that it's been trialled. For me, I don't like it. We gave it a chance. Say goodbye.
Yeah,
that would be my personal choice. But
I totally agree. So I totally agree. I think we've trialled it. It hasn't really worked. Do you know what I mean? Because the thing is, and it doesn't like people. But if it was involved when Cardiff were in the Premier League, then Cardiff would have stayed up, potentially, because the Chelsea goal wouldn't have counted. Because that's not even. It wasn't even a close decision. You know what I mean? There was 2 offside, and Azpilicueta was a country mile offside, to be fair to him. You know what I mean? So, and I think that's what annoys people at the minute, that we're talking about these kind of decisions, but at the same time, it's what's costing clubs who lost the place last season, because it's worth millions and millions, isn't it? So,
well, with the Cardiff one, it's not just the 3 points they'd have had against Chelsea; it's the impact it would have had on the squad as a whole to lift them up. You know, it's I still prefer it without, I got to say, but I can see why, isn't it? But the other thing is, as well, is like one of the reasons why it works in rugby and cricket is the crowd is involved in as the decision's being made, so they're showing it on the big screen. There's like an excitement about it as they go through the different stages of checking different parts of the decision. Whereas they don't do that in football. They don't show it on the big screen. They just put up a graphic saying checking the goal or whatever. And it's like, so everyone just switches off. You know, you lose the atmosphere. You lose everything. People aren't celebrating the goal. It doesn't provide extra excitement. It kind of takes you out of the game, if anything.
Yeah, I just think I don't know if you've seen it. There was I retweeted it anyway, and it was a VAR decision in Australia, and it was a tackle. So it was a tackle. The referee gave a yellow card, and straight away the bloke who was watching it in the studio or whatever said, "You need to look at that again." So he went to the side, looked at the screen, seen the 2-footed tackle, which he missed. Straight away changed it to a red. You know what I mean? And for me, that's how it should be used for. It should be used for decisions which are wrong, not a goal. Because when a goal's been given, unless when you score a goal, the first thing you do as a centre forward is you look at the linesman, and if the linesman's not got his flag up, you celebrate, regardless if you think it's onside or offside, you celebrate. Soon we're going to get to a stage where you don't even look at the linesman anymore, because you just don't celebrate. You only celebrate when the referee's gone to his friend, who then tells you that he's going to check it, and then all of a sudden you say it's a goal. Or you're going to get where you know what I mean? And fans' biggest bugbear is players who don't celebrate.
Yeah.
So he doesn't like our football club because he didn't celebrate his goal. No, that's not the case. The case is he's not celebrating his goal because he hasn't got a clue if it's a goal or not.
Yeah.
But you think he doesn't like you as a football club.
And that's
He
gonna get
doesn't want to play
worse,
for your
isn't it?
team. So right, it's only going to get worse, mate. It's we're in a bad place at the minute, and it seriously needs addressing, looking at, and hopefully they can. I don't know. Yeah, but I said all along time, we said it on here, it should have been trialled in the Championship, or it should have been trialled in the Conference, or it should have been trialled in League One or League Two, or north of the border in Scotland. It needed to be trialled in a different environment than the Premier League, because the Premier League is such a different animal, and it's a business now. Because if you get relegated, say if Watford or Newcastle or Villa get relegated, or Norwich got relegated off a VAR decision, or off a blink of the eye, or a mistake by somebody. Do you know what I mean? This is worth millions, because all it does is a football club who's got billions of pounds takes the Premier League to court, and there we go. We're in a right mess then, in a state, just for the sake of an agency deciding that we'll keep it and just be stubborn because everybody wanted it, so we're keeping it now, regardless how bad it is. We're going to keep it.
Yeah. There was an interesting thing in the Man United game the other day. Rashford broke like a through ball to Rashford, and the linesman gave it as offside. He kept going. Only one defender followed him, and he kind of was going back and forth across the goal. The whistle had gone. The defender followed him, and he shot. I think he either shot wide or he blocked it. But all the other defenders stopped, but Rashford didn't, and he was trying to put it in the net, even though the whistle had gone, because he knew if I put this ball in the net and then they look at VAR, it's a goal.
And on one side, it's a goal. Yeah.
So
it's a mess.
It just creates confusion, then, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a mess because for me, and I've had this argument with people on Twitter, because people say that you're taught as a young player to play the whistle, but that's just the biggest load of rubbish in the world. Because as a player, you're drilled all week in keeping your line as a defender. You know what I mean? So if you keep a line and you see the linesman's flag there, you've done your job. You know what I mean? You know, I get people saying play at the whistle, but if the linesman's got his flag up, he's offside. So the linesman should not put his flag up.
Yeah.
But then what's the point of being there?
Do you think they should bring in a thing? So, like, for instance, in that Rashford instance, the referee blew his whistle, where if the referee blows his whistle to stop the game is stopped. And it doesn't matter if Rashford puts the ball in the net and then VAR shows it to be offside. So at least you're taking out of that kind of inconsistency and that confusion out of it, because it's not really fair, because the defenders are stopping because the referee's whistle's gone.
Yeah.
But then equally, Rashford's thinking, well, I think I'm onside, so I'm going to put this in the net. So,
how far do we go on its side? Because if he doesn't put it in the net and he puts it wide, for example, and he's offside, is that a yellow card for kicking the ball out of play? Do you know what I mean? And wasting time. And
if he does shoot and the keeper saves it and it goes out for a corner, is it a corner or is it a free kick?
Exactly.
Is it a free kick for offside or is it a corner?
It should be a corner. If he's onside, it's a corner.
But like, how far do you go then? If the keeper saves it and then they score the rebound, or the keeper saves it, there's like a triple save off the rebound, and then they score off the fourth rebound. Yeah. Like, is the ball dead, or does it keep going until the ball?
Or the linesman puts his flag up, somebody catches the ball. Did they look at that and he gets sent off for deliberate handball because he's caught the ball? We're opening a can of worms now. You know what I mean? And this is the FA. The FA must every Monday morning they must have a meeting about what's happened. And Mike Riley, you know what I mean, who's trying to justify all these decisions week in, week out. You know what I mean? They've massively made a mistake by just confusing everybody and just not sticking to. For me, you use it for one thing, and the next season you implement another rule and another rule and another rule, and then all of a sudden, by the time you've done it, it's all singing, all dancing. Everyone knows exactly what's going on because you've only just introduced a little bit at a time, instead of it being, we're using it for everything now. You know what I mean? Yeah. For me, at the minute, you've got professional referees and professional linesmen who are well paid. They might as well not be there at the minute. We might as well just do it by somebody on the loudspeaker saying, right, stop there. You know what I mean? Or a hooter going and stopping the game, and just robots doing the games and stop having referees, because fans are starting to get a little bit annoyed of it. You know what I mean? You hear that song every week. You know what I mean? Fans don't like it. So if fans don't like it, then you know what I mean. We're going to lose the battle.
Yeah, you're just going to end up losing fans, if anything.
Yeah.
So very briefly, talk about the Boxing Day results. Obviously, because that's been in between. Standout individuals, mate.
Game wise, I was surprised that West Brom obviously dropped points at Barnsley.
Barnsley on fire.
Yeah, they are doing really well. They've had a good Christmas period. Brentford again looking really strong, scoring goals, beat the Swans. I thought Cardiff was on paper it was a bad result, but you know what I mean. Jed Wallace scored a worldie free kick and has impressed me every time he walks on the football pitch. Really, I thought Luton did really well. Really unlucky not to get something from Fulham. Fulham equalised last kick a 3-3 draw, but obviously loads of goals. Middlesbrough beat obviously Huddersfield. Wasn't a great game. Went to the game myself. I thought Huddersfield was really good. The second half especially, I thought going forward, I thought they were excellent. Juninho Bakuna, technically very good, but missed two. He missed two sitters on the line. I was relieved, but at the same time disappointed that you know what I mean that Huddersfield are down there for that very reason. I believe. The biggest surprise of the Boxing Day of the Christmas period has been Sheffield Wednesday. You know, I know we're going to talk about them and what happened on Sunday, but they're going to lose again at Stoke City, and it wasn't just one game. It was you know what I mean, they let 2 goals in injury time, and for a team who was doing really well, it was a strange one. But then I look at Sheffield Wednesday, and I put something on Twitter on Sunday morning once the teams came out for Sunday about Stephen Fletcher. Stephen Fletcher's poorly. He's been poorly for 10 days. So he hasn't played the last 3 games. I do find that very strange. I'll be honest. I do find that very strange. I hope he is poorly. Well, not too poorly, but I hope he's not playing because he's getting sold in January. You know what I mean? Because if that is a reason, if that is the case, he does leave in January the 1st and he's already got himself a move or somebody's decided then to not play him, then it's a little bit naughty that, you know what I mean? Because it gives fans a little bit of a false hope and things, you know. Leeds were very lucky, I thought, on against Preston. I didn't think they were great. I watched the game. It was probably one of the games that they had a few chances, but didn't really do enough for the game. Didn't do enough for the ball. And I've heard it right that Nketiah's gone back to Arsenal. Is that right? I've heard that this morning.
They're thinking. I think they were trying to convince them not to.
To be fair, if I was Arsenal, if I was him, I'd leave and I'd go to Huddersfield, I'd go to Middlesbrough, I'd go somewhere where he's going to play week in, week out. For the boys' development, he's never going to play at Leeds. Paddy Bamford.
Yeah, they don't fancy him.
No, he's not going to play. He's not going to play. And do you know what? If he signed for Huddersfield, for example, those chances that they missed on what day are we on? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, whatever, he would have put them in. I do believe that. But it's just I heard something tonight. I'm not sure what it was. One team who's really struggling, Wigan Athletic. They're struggling to score goals. They're letting goals in really dangerous times as well. So you know, I think Wagon equalised in the 95th minute, and it just kills your confidence. And you go into the next game like just zero confidence. And but Boxing Day it was full of goals, but not as full as Sunday was. So you know, it gave players not much time to recover, which I think brought goals galore over the Sunday games, and some of the games were excellent.
Yeah, they were really good. So there's nothing official about Nketiah, but apparently when he went off or when he came at the end of the game, whatever it was, at the weekend, he's kind of basically said goodbye. So it looks like he is. I got to say, if he's not going to get a run of games when
he started on Sunday. He started Sunday against.
So when he went off, it was then.
I thought he did really well, but when you're chasing the game side, and you need to score goals. You bring a centre forward off, and Paddy wasn't on the bench, so I thought that was a strange one. You know what I mean? I bet he thought that he was going to get a full 90 minutes. I thought he was going to get a full 90 minutes. So,
well, of course, and I think the fact that he didn't get a run of games when Bamford was in his run of games where he couldn't score, he wasn't playing very well, he was missing opening goals. You know, if he wasn't going to play then, means that he's, you know, they don't fancy him really, is it?
I totally agree. It's a shame though as well, because obviously he's gone there to play football, and I look at teams from the Premier League, and there's a reason why people don't loan players out, and that's the reason why. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they're not playing, they're not developing. Because you know what I mean. This player's obviously got talent. You know what I mean? He scored quite a lot of goals for the amount of minutes he's played, and you know what I mean. For me, I'd love to see him in a red shirt at Middlesbrough. I'd love to see him. You know what I mean? To go and sign for Huddersfield, or go and sign for a side, maybe like a Brentford who he'd play week in, week out. He'd take the pressure off of the other teams. But I think at Leeds, I think his minutes are numbered with the players that they've got, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think so. So just before we go on to the games, obviously Bradley Dack suffered a very serious knee injury, I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, gutted for him.
Which I really feel for him, because he's been one of the players of the year so far.
Yeah.
But he's been massive for Blackburn, and it's it showed 2 games. They've not looked the same team that they have for the last month since without him.
Yeah, no, I was when I found out, I'd seen that he'd gone off, and they said with a knee injury. They didn't say it was serious, just said he was having the scans. I thought, oh, maybe it'll knock him out over Christmas, maybe January. But yeah, it sounds like he's done his cruise shit, and he's out for like 9 to 12 months, and for a, you know what I mean, the form he was in, you know what I mean. I think Blackburn would have struggled to keep hold of him, to be honest. So you know what I mean. For them, it's probably something long term. It's probably good, but I hope for the boy that he comes back fitter and stronger than ever, because there's nothing worse than a serious injury and a career-threatening injury. And I hope he comes back the same player, if not better, because the boy's obviously got immense talent, and we rave about him on here, and rightly so. But I just hope he doesn't affect Blackburn in a massively negative way as well.
Indeed. I also want to mention Joe Bennett. He clashed heads with Junior Hoylett in Sunday's game.
Junior Hoylett must have a head like a tree.
Oh, mate, scary. It was scary instant. But I'm happy to say there's no skull fracture.
Yeah.
Joe Bennett put a picture up on Instagram of like his head and his eye. And I got to say, it looks like someone's photoshopped him to look like the Elephant Man.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
I texted him straight after the game once I'd seen the photo, because one of my mates texted me and said, have you seen Joe Bennett's injury? And I thought, oh, don't. You know what I mean? I thought, because I seen it come off, and obviously I didn't watch the game, didn't see the game, and when I seen the picture, I went straight away on his Twitter. So seeing the picture, and thankfully he said that no fracture. He said it looked worse than the injury looks worse than what it is, and tried to make a bit of a joke about it, a bit light-hearted, and you know what I mean. Hopefully he'll be back sooner rather than later once the swelling's gone down. Because I think concussion-wise, I think he was all right, but obviously the swelling's the major issue now. It's got to come down before anything can happen. Yeah,
it's no fractured skulls, no laughing matter either. So he's lucky that he.
Big life-threatening that if it happens. So thankfully, both lads, because.
Nasty, wasn't it?
Yeah, you don't play a game thinking that something like that, serious like that, can happen. And, you know what I mean? Injuries are part and parcel of the game, but injuries to your legs sometimes are the hazardous injury what you get, but to your face and to your head, and no, it's not nice.
Yeah, I meant to mention earlier, I forgot though, was one of the questions we've got is asking us to select our championship team of 2019, including manager. So have a think and
get me thinking caps on. I'll write a few things down. I'll write a few notes down.
Have a think and we'll do it at the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. Well, bloody weekend of footballs. Let's get talking. Just before we start, obviously we put a poll up before each show, in a couple of days before or whatever. Obviously the games were yesterday, so we didn't have as long this time around. But you can vote. It's up to you guys to vote and share. Not only helps us grow, but also, you know, if you want us to cover certain games in more detail, we cover 3 games in detail and then we talk about the other games. So if you feel like we're covering similar or the same teams most weeks, then you've got to vote and share and tell your friends. But I think I'm not surprised by the results this week.
No, not at all.
Because like a lot of your followers are Cardiff and Borough fans, a lot of my followers are Cardiff fans, and Birmingham and Leeds was 5-4. So
I was glad that I was glad
predicted
people
those
picked that.
three
Though.
games.
It was just, it was a mad game. Looking forward to talking about all them three.
Incredible, mate. So let's start with that. Let's start with the Birmingham 4, Leeds 5. Oof.
It's just the gift that keeps on giving. You know what I mean? Like, I'll be honest. I didn't see this one coming in terms of like Leeds, because Leeds defensively had the best defensive record all season. They'd only let in 16 goals all season. So to let 4 in one game, you know what I mean? Is like a fifth of the amount of goals all season in just one afternoon. And over the course of the game, the way that the game was to and froing, and the results what were going elsewhere, it turned out to be a massive result in the end. The way that the goals went in, but Leeds started really well, created loads of chances, but so did Birmingham as well. To be fair, Birmingham didn't just make the numbers up. You know what I mean? They got the tactics right. They were using Jukovic really well. I think that the back three of Leeds really struggled with handling Jukovic. I think they couldn't handle his aggression and the way he was holding the ball up and flicking balls on and winning headers. But Leeds got themselves ahead through a very good goal from Costa, and then Jack Harrison raced through and tidy finish. You know what I mean? I watched him at Middlesbrough. He came on loan at Middlesbrough from Man City once he'd come over from New York, and he didn't get enough game time. But when I've seen him for Leeds at the minute, he's just got pace. He drives past people. He's got tidy delivery, and he's got an eye for goal as well. And he's, you know what I mean? He's relishing really in that side. But and fair, when it went to 2-0 side, I thought it was game over. But then our friend of the show, Jude Bellingham, got Birmingham back in the game with a
great finish,
a very good finish. You know what I mean? He's like, he had loads of time, and normally as a young player, you'd panic and put your foot through
on the half volley, you'd lash it, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but he didn't. You know what I mean? He placed it and put it in the corner as far as he could, and it was probably perfect timing just before, 15 minutes before half time, and went in 2-1. Jukovic got himself on the score sheet straight after half time, and then I thought, there's a real game on here. And then straight off kickoff, Luke Ayling scored an absolute wonder goal, great finish. You know what I mean? Driving on from right back, chested it, volleyed it over the top into the top corner. It was very impressive, by the way. All game, I thought it was absolutely outstanding. And then Birmingham went at the other end again, got the equaliser through Bella. Then Dallas scored himself from a Luke Ayling cross. Jukovic got himself an equaliser in the 91st minute, and then I thought, that's enough. You know what I mean? I was thinking there can't be any more goals. And then what happens is your right back bombs on again, crosses the ball in, and unfortunately for Wes Harding, he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. And I watched the goal side about 5 or 6 times, and I can't work it out that it hasn't just hit him. He's passed or shot the ball in the net. You know what I mean? It's not.
Yeah.
And a normal defender's reaction in that area would be to stand still, and if the ball hits you, it goes in. But I don't know what he's trying to do. I don't know if he's trying to kick it out and he's kicked it and he's put it in the net, or if he's misjudged the whole situation, or he didn't know who was. He would have been best off hoping for the best and leaving it, and hoping that whoever's behind him, because there was a couple of lads behind him, was going to miss it, because people will say, you know, he's in an all-win situation because someone was there to tap it in behind, but then make them do it. You know what I mean? The way that he's done it, it just looked a bit daft, and you know what I mean. But take nothing away, I thought Birmingham were outstanding. I thought, you know what I mean, they're full of young lads, but you know, to play against the best side in the league, or one of the best sides in the league, and give them a run for the money for long periods of the game was excellent. They didn't just make the numbers up. You know what I mean? Jukovic outstanding, leading the line. Bellingham very good, but both teams just couldn't defend for Toffee all day, really. And you know what I mean. But that's taking nothing away from the attacking side as well, though, because you know what I mean. There was a lot of attacking quality on show from both sides, so I don't really want to take anything away from that.
Yeah, no, it was superb. I thought Jude Bellingham was very impressive, and it just baffles me, mate, that he's 16 and he's playing the way he is. Like you said,
goes with confidence every time you see him. He's just outstandanding.
Ayling, I thought was very, very, very good for Leeds. It's the first time I've really seen him play.
That's your right back side. Your right back's bombing on, creating chances. He's the most effective attacking player. That's what, you know what I mean. And that's not including the Nketiah, the Costas, the Jack Harrisons, the Patrick Bamfords, all these kind of players they've got, and it's your right back who's causing the most problems. So.
Yeah, that's the first time I've seen him play. Like I watched about 70 minutes of this, and it's the first time I've seen him play like with, which is not highlights, and I was very, very impressed with him. Who else was the Djukovic? Like you mentioned, his hold up play is so good.
Oh,
Just like his close control when under pressure.
yeah.
There's not many better at just holding the defender off and bringing the ball down at the air or flicking it on.
I think he's got better with age, Sykes. I think when he was younger, I think he used to run around a lot more. You know what I mean, and probably waste the energy. But what he does now, he uses probably the lines a little bit better. That he plays in between the 18-yard boxes, so he doesn't run the channels anymore, and he's effective at getting hold of it, bringing in younger players and letting them do the running off him and things. And I think he's looking $1 million now because of the way that they're asking him to play.
Yeah, indeed. I think, but Birmingham be a bit disappointed when they to get it back to 4-4 so late on, and then and lose. But then you've got to play to the end, I suppose.
Got to play at the whistle. You got to play at the 90 minutes. You know what I mean? People who we said this earlier on about people playing at the whistle, and that's the final whistle. That's is what it is, isn't it? It's just.
And like I know a lot of people have discussed, like have said, how well Birmingham did, and they showed tremendous, bottle and passion to keep coming back and keep coming back, keep coming back from behind, which of course they did. They absolutely did, especially against a team as good as Leeds.
Yeah.
But I also thought Leeds showed a lot of bottle. When you look at what's happened over the last few weeks, they haven't been playing very well. They were 3-0 up against Cardiff and went on to draw the game. They could have easily capitulated again. So they had to show a bit of mental fortitude to get the job done.
Yeah.
And I do think if they had lost or if they had drawn this game, I think the psychological scars from this in the Cardiff game could have been a problem going forward. Whereas now this, I think, could probably help them kick on a bit and really put some pressure on West Brom. Because obviously, the last show we did, West Brom were looking unbeatable. And then all of a sudden they've dropped points in 2 games.
Yeah. But I think that's the thing, and they both play each other as well on next game. So it's it's going to be the biggest game of the season without a shadow of a doubt. West Brom, you know what I mean? West Brom beat Leeds Leeds won 1-0 at Ellen Road. So it'll be interesting to see. West Brom are going into the game with probably the first. Well, didn't expect the defeat. You know what I mean? Maybe they were saving themselves for that big game and thinking that it was going to be a rollover on Saturday. But Leeds did the job. They got themselves top of the league, and they've done the job. They've done what they needed to do. If you'll take a 1-0 side, you know what I mean. But going there and scoring 5 goals is exactly what you want. But you just don't want to let the 4 in. You know what I mean? It's just, but you give people a value for money. I don't think Birmingham will want a repeat of it because young lads will, yes, they'll take the positives out of it, but at the same time they've let 5 goals in, so sometimes it's difficult to take the positives out of a 5-4 defeat. Yeah,
it is. But then, you've got to take the positives from any situation, haven't you? So,
yeah.
Okay, so next up you've got Sheffield Wednesday 1, Cardiff City 2.
We've said this a couple of times this season that you can't afford to give sides a lead early doors, and you know what I mean, that Cardiff found themselves 2 goals up after 8 minutes, and regardless how good or bad your opposition are, you can't afford to give them leads. You know what I mean? I thought the first goal was outstanding. You know what I mean? A proper centre forward finish by the player that we've been spoke about at the start of the season. That, you know what I mean, the ball gets laid into him, chest height, that he can shield the defender off, swivel and put a tidy finish away. And I thought it was. I thought it just showed exactly what Cardiff have been missing. You know what I mean? That he's stuck with Gary Medine up front, which for me doesn't work because you can't give him that firepower. You can't give him those kind of balls because he's always got his back to play and he doesn't want to swivel. He wants to play one-dimensionally. And when you've got people like Lee Tomlin on the side, and you know what I mean, you need the pace. And I think he got his tactics spot on. When you've got Junior Hoylett on one wing and Mendes Lang on the other, and you've got Lee Tomlin behind Ratzel, I think for me that would be my ideal front 4 because you've got the people behind who can shore things up, you know what I mean? But I thought Pack was outstanding. Bakuna was neat and tidy, you know what I mean? This is without Joe Rawls, who's still not playing. Obviously, we spoke about Joe Bennett's injury. One thing I would say, Si, and I said it on Twitter on Saturday lunchtime when I saw the teams, that I thought Gary Monk's team selection was very strange. Very strange. You know what I mean? You've got no Stephen Fletcher. which for whatever reason. And then the decision to not play Jordan Rhodes and to have him on the bench and play Sam Winnall up front on his own was, you know what I mean? There's obviously the only person who knows is him. But I thought it was a poor decision. And, you know what I mean? Especially the way that, because the last time Sheffield played Cardiff, the game was it Friday night? Was it the Sky game when, was it 1-1? I think Cardiff equalised second half.
I think it was, yeah.
And to be fair, you know what I mean? I thought Cardiff were a better side throughout the game. You know what I mean? I thought Sheffield had a few half chances. They created a few chances themselves. But the longer the game went on, and Cardiff and Neil Harris in particular got his tactics spot on and saw the game out. You know what I mean? He brought Sol Bamba on. And you know what I mean? I thought second half, I thought Sol was just immense. I thought his towering strength, you know what I mean? The longer the game went, Sheffield Wednesday played more direct, but when you haven't got Stephen Fletcher there and you haven't got anyone to have as a focal point, I think you're going to struggle. And you know what I mean, we've been very very positive with Sheffield Wednesday, but Sheffield Wednesday have struggled the last couple of games and struggled without Stephen Fletcher. So you know what I mean, when you're missing probably your most influential and your best player, you know what I mean, maybe they are just one dimensional and they're going to struggle without their best player.
Yeah, I thought Sheffield Wednesday for the first kind of 15 minutes defensively just were all over the place. Like they were really, really bad. They're just out of position and not in a line, and the two centre-backs were doing different things. What I was very impressed with was Lee Tomlin again. I thought he was excellent. Yeah. You know, he's bagging assists all over the place.
Oh, his assists are just ridiculous as well. Like, you know, just
quick thinking for the first goal, mate. Is a lot of players would have just waited for the big centre forwards, big centre backs to go up for the free kick, and he just takes it quickly, little dink ball over. And Glatzel shows a great deal of not just strength to hold off for defenders, but he also, I thought, showed a good. He was just calm, and even though he miscontrolled it, you know, he held him off and he waited, and then he just got the shot off when the defender was shielding the goalkeeper. And the assist for the second goal by Tomlin was exceptional. You know, he drilled it across the area, and Hoylett strokes it in. I thought the defending by Cardiff for the Sheffield Wednesday goal was very poor. It's like a basic goal, you know, just a corner, easy header. No one on the post, mate. Pet hate of mine.
Yeah, I don't
understood it.
The thought process behind it must be that you can afford to leave more players up because you've got. I look at the picture. Sheffield Wednesday have got a goalkeeper back. They've got a defender back, another defender back. So that's 3 players back. You've got somebody taking the corner. So that's 4. Yeah, so that's 7 players you've got to mark. You know what I mean? And Cardiff have got somebody up front and they've got a goalkeeper. So that's 9 players to mark 7. So how it doesn't, the maths don't add up. So you might as well go 7 for 7
and have
2 people on the post. And there's your 9. You know what I mean? So, but this is like the new craze. It's happening all the time. It happened to West Brom against Middlesbrough. You know what I mean? Look at the outcome there, which we'll speak about. But one thing I will say, Si, and I've seen it a couple of times. I've watched it, and I'd love to hear your opinion on it. But people saying Junior Hoylett's tackle.
Yeah, red card, mate.
I heard the Sheffield Wednesday commentary, and I thought the commentary was a little bit disgusting. To be honest, you know, how irate they got. You know, what I mean?
On the iFollow app, is it?
Yeah, well, it was on. I don't know on the iFollow when the game's live. They pick one of the
they pick one of the
commentary team. You know what I mean? And they do it. And because when I watched one of the games last week, and it was Huddersfield's commentary anyway. But it's just it's a centre forward's tackle. It's an attacker's tackle. It's late. He's there to protect himself, and he's gone over the top of the ball and he's raised his studs. But you just don't need to make a big thing of it. You know what I mean? It's probably the worst place you can do a tackle, which is in front of their backroom staff, which doesn't help at the same time.
Their coaching staff, I thought, were quite reserved.
They didn't make a big thing of it.
I think it helped that Neil Harris was stood right by him. He was right by it, so he kind of stood in between. And I think it helped that Hoylett knew that he had done a naughty one. So he didn't try and make out like he hadn't done anything wrong, like you see a lot of players do. He kind of just sat there with his head down. And I think he expected to be sent off. I
Yeah.
think he knew it was a naughty tackle, but
Yeah, it's
I don't
just,
think it
yeah.
was a malicious tackle. I think it was a sloppy striker's tackle, like you
I
said.
just think just late. No, he's not malicious. He's not that kind of player. So I'm just, yeah, I didn't.
However, going back to what you said about the Sheffield Wednesday commentary, this one of my pet hates is watching these games on a Saturday with the live games. Is the I follow commentaries is where they pick one of the team's commentary teams. I wish they would just do one for each because it just makes it cringeworthy, some of it.
Yeah.
And I watched the game live, but I missed the tackle in real time. As in, I think I must have gone out of the room or I'd gone to the loo or something, or I'd gone for a cigarette. So I missed it. So I didn't hear the commentary.
Right.
So I don't know how bad it was and what they said.
It was like something you get on, like I'd say, like kids football. You know what I mean? Like high pitched screaming, like, "Oh, it's got to be a red card! It's got to!" And I just thought, you know what I mean? You wouldn't get that. But that's radio. That's what it is. It's not TV. It's radio where you can probably get a little bit more excited. But when you see it on TV, you think that somebody's been shot. You know what I mean? It was like, am I watching the same tackle? Yes, it's a bad tackle. But you know what I mean? If that was Gary Neville or Jamie Carragher, you'd get a, "Whoa, that's a bit naughty." You know what I mean? Not getting excited and being impartial. And I think that's your point there, that you're watching a game and everything's focused on one team. And you know what I mean? If that's your team, then fine. But if that's not your team, then you're getting, you know what I mean? You're getting a commentary of a game, and it's it's just rose tinted glasses. It's just,
yeah. And I got to say, even when it's being the Cardiff commentators, even that bugs me because I need like a little bit of like impartiality, just a little bit.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's just ridiculous. And there was one, I think it was the Boxing Day game I watched. It was just like so one-sided that it was embarrassing. Like, it was cringeworthy to listen to and watch. And they got to do better with that, because I think actually the iFollow app is a good idea.
I agree.
I just wish they'd open it up for people in this country.
That's one thing the EFL get right.
Yes, indeed. But yeah, I thought Cardiff would be very happy to get Sol Bamba back, because I thought he made some impressive blocks and tackles in the second half. They just look a bit more organised with him at the back. And I think
the word is steward, and I think that's what, like you say, I think the first goal, they were a little bit all over the place. I think that's what they look. They look unorganised. They look that there's no leader, there's no talking, and I think Sol brings that. He brings a little bit of calmness to the situation because he's laid back a little bit.
Yeah, and I think for whatever reason, Morrison's struggled a bit this year.
Yeah,
because he's quite vocal, but for whatever reason, he's just struggled for that bit of assuredness and that bit of leadership, or whatever you want to call it. He just hasn't been able to find the.
It's hard though, Si, when you
continuity this year.
When you played with somebody for so long and had a partnership with somebody for so long that it gets taken away. But no fault of anybody's. It's just, you know what I mean? Sol had a really bad injury, and it's just like, you know what I mean? But he's coming back, and he's, you know what I mean? Hopefully we can rekindle a bit of defensive form, because, you know what I mean? If they can keep Lee fit, you know what I mean? They're going to score goals. You know what I mean? He's a magician on his day, and you know what I mean? He looks like he's on the top of his game at the minute, and it's probably really good timing, because you know what I mean, that I always say, if you win your home games and draw away, you've got a chance to get promoted. And what Cardiff do it the other way around. It's irrelevant, isn't it? You go away from home, pick 3 points up, and you draw at home, or you pick 3 points up at home. It's you know what I mean, a 4-point turnover over Christmas, everyone would have probably snapped their hands off. So yeah, you know, I don't think you can complain.
What I'd really like to see is Cardiff go and sign a good winger in number 10.
Make a statement.
Yeah, a Gerrard Bowen.
Bowen.
That drum again. But just someone of that stature who is going to perform week in, week out, can play in a few different positions.
Yeah,
is quality.
Yeah.
And then maybe you bring in, for instance, like I don't think they'll bring him in by any chance, but like a Nikitaya or someone like that, a youngster from a Premier League team who can play off Glatzel or play off the bench. But It is what it is. Glatzel and Tomlin have a very, very good understanding already. And I'd like to think that now Glatzel's starting to score, we'll see that more and more. But a few times he kind of, Tomlin picked him out and it was like, just like skimmed off the defender's top of his head, or like he got a toe to it. So there was a couple of, it could have been a couple more on another day. Just from their kind of partnership. So got to keep Tomlin fit if they're not
totally
going to
agree.
sign anyone.
Yeah.
So I saw a lot of people talking on the weekend saying that they want Harris to get Bobby Reid back. But as far as I'm aware, the loan isn't one way you can get him back. It's a loan, and then he signs. That's it.
Very surprised if it's
can't.
not, because that's the deal I thought it was. I thought he'd gone. I thought it was agreed that.
So apparently the only way the deal doesn't become permanent apparently is if Fulham get relegated, which they're not going to. So
no chance of that.
Yes. So next up is West Brom 0, Borough 2.
Didn't see this happening, Si. One little bit. I thought Middlesbrough were. They just got the tactics right. They got the tactics absolutely spot on. He changed his formation. They're going into the game for me after the Huddersfield performance. It wasn't a great performance, but they got the result, and that's the most important thing. And for me, it was a free one that he could have gone to West Brom and took a hiding, and no one really would have really cared. And I think everyone was probably expecting that, but they were solid. You know what I mean? The back four and Ainsley Pears in goal is doing outstanding, keeping clean sheets. But for me, the best player on the pitch was George Saville. You know what I mean? And I think he got everybody going. He's starting to pull the strings in midfield. He was getting stuck in. I just thought the way he played was just outstanding. And Lewis Wing's corner for Ayala's goal, his first goal off the corner, was outstanding. Like I said before, no one on the post, which Ayala headed it, and the goalkeeper's got no chance. If he's either side of him, he's got limited chance to save the ball. West Brom just lacked quality. You know what I mean? They brought on a couple of subs at half time. We brought Townsend and Charlie Austin on, and they just really lacked a lot of creativity. Middlesbrough did a really good job in Pereira. George Saville and Adam Clayton, just every time he got the ball, they swarmed round him and made sure he couldn't get them going. And the longer the game was going, I was thinking, you know what I mean, you need to hold on. And Middlesbrough looks solid, and ball goes forward. George Saville puts the ball forward to Ashley Fletcher, 30, 40 yards out, and I don't know why he hit it. You know, I'll be honest. When he's hit that, I've just thought, what are you doing? And maybe he saw the keeper off his line, but the keeper wasn't just off his line. He was on he's on the penalty spot. You know what I mean? And when it hit the net, his celebration to run the whole length of the pitch, you know what I mean, was just the goal of the season. You know what I mean? Because it was outstanding. You know what I mean? There's been some better technical goals, but for someone to hit a strike like that in a game like that, you know what I mean? For the team who's been lacking confidence all season, it just shows how unpredictable the Championship is, though. Because what Middlesbrough won the last 3 games, and you take those 9 points off them, it puts them in the bottom 3. You know what I mean? So it shows that you pull a few strings and pull a few results together, that you can get yourself out of trouble.
Yeah, like you said, should I say that I didn't expect this. Obviously, the goal at the end is special. You know, it's just one of those special. Sits up perfect for him, and he just hits it, and you could tell by the flight to the ball, you know, where it's going. The keeper's got no chance.
No,
but like you say, Pereira, you know, he's the boy. Far too good for the Championship, and Middlesbrough did a great job on him. They just gave him no time.
No, and I think that's the thing, sir. You know what I mean? You've got to play. You got to play every game as an individual, and obviously they worked that out very quickly. That they're just to keep him quiet, and then the limit West Brom down to a few chances, and that's what happened. Yeah,
it was kind of one of those days for West Brom. They never, you know, they had their moments throughout the game. They never really hit the heights of the last month. I know they dropped points on Boxing Day, but you know, they never quite just didn't look as fresh and as sharp as they have done.
Well, he changed his formation, but he put Gareth Barry in. It was Gareth Barry's first game within a year, and everything was sideways and backwards and dead slow. And West Brom haven't played like that all year, so you know what I mean. To ask someone to come in and play against a hungry side like Middlesbrough, because Middlesbrough were hungry, you know what I mean. They haven't got the quality of West Brom, you know what I mean. But they showed more desire, more heart, and got the result. And, you know what I mean. But they need more of that. You know what I mean. They've got Preston North End away next week, and you know, it's going to be another tough ask.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. But Borough had a good few weeks, I think.
Yeah.
It's coming together.
Yeah, slowly.
But league table doesn't lie, mate.
No, it doesn't.
League table doesn't lie.
Exactly. So if they did lie, now they'll be in the bottom three. So, you know what I mean? That statement comes back and bites you on the backside a little bit, because if they did lie, then you wouldn't be where you are now. So,
but a month ago, if I told you that you'd be 16th going into the 2020, you'd have bitten my hand off.
Mate, I would have absolutely bit your hands off. You know what I mean? I've never seen the last 3 games coming, never mind one of them. You know what I mean? I fully expected us to lose on Sunday. I fully expected us to drop points in one of the other 2 home games. So, you know what I mean? Anything was a bonus, really.
Indeed. Okay, so there are our main 3 featured games for the day. We're going to move on to the other games now and have a quick chat about each one. Today's show is brought to you by Away Day Apparel. Away Day Apparel is a group of casually obsessed football fans looking to bring something different to the wardrobes of like-minded people. Please visit their website, awaydayapparel.co.uk. I'll drop the links in the description. And I highly recommend giving them a follow on Twitter @AwayDayApparel and Instagram @awayday_apparel, as 2020 is looking to be a very interesting and exciting year for the brand. And we are very happy to have them on board here at Ace Podcast Nation and the Andy Campbell Championship Show. But yeah, some good stuff coming there. 2020, it's the big year.
2020.
So first game we got Bristol 3, Luton 0.
Yeah, the curse of Luton's defending just comes and strikes them again, mate, doesn't it? Because I thought they were excellent on Boxing Day against Fulham. Obviously let 3 goals in, but you know what I mean, to take the game to Luton, to Fulham for long periods, but then you go to Bristol City with a game plan, then you let a goal in the first couple of minutes and just goes out the window. And it's the way they let goals inside for me. You know what I mean? Bristol City have struggled really to score goals. You know what I mean? They've struggled to create chances, and I thought they got everything right this week. And especially in the first half, you know what I mean? Bristol City just made sure that once the first goal went in, that they peppered the Luton defence and kept going. And just before half time, they got the rewards with the second goal. And I think by then it was game over. One and got his trademark goal just on the hour. And I thought Luton were soundly beaten. You know what I mean? And I don't think they've got any qualms. But I think in certain games, I think they need to start picking and choosing the games that they've got a chance to win and a chance to get them out of the trouble. Because when they go to Bristol City, there's no point in pushing games sometimes, because that game was finished probably in the first 15-20 minutes.
Yeah, sure was. But Bristol, after a rocky little period, just maybe coming together a bit. They needed the points, I think, and apart from the points, I think they needed the boost.
Yeah.
Just to get some confidence back in their team, because they were looking a bit shaky a couple of weeks back.
Yeah.
They did look like they were struggling.
But I think defensively as well, with Williams and Callas, you know what I mean, they need to get that confidence back as well, because defensively they've let a lot of goals in, and you know what I mean, in big games as well. It's in quite crucial time, so it's nice for them to get a clean sheet. Yeah,
and I think you'd think that over a period of time, those 2 defenders will, they'll probably do better most of the time than what they have been doing. Obviously, Luton started off on fire at the start of the season. They've been very up and down last month or 2, but I don't know.
They've got goals in them, Si. You know what I mean? That's a massive positive for them, that they've got goals in them, and they'll get points at home. But will they get enough points? I'm not sure.
They've lost 8 on the bounce now away from home, which is they've got to halt that quick.
Yeah, they need to. They do need to win probably 2 or 3 games away from home, and then pick up the points at home, which is going to be enough to keep them up, because they've still got some. They'll still have some tough games to play home and away. You know what I mean? So it's going to be it's going to be a tough ask for them to get out the bottom three because of the amount of goals they're letting in.
Yeah, and when you look at the form, for instance, Middlesbrough are in. Stoke can beat anyone on their day.
Yeah,
Huddersfield are doing well. And then you've got Barnsley have been on fire recently.
Yeah.
All of a sudden you're looking and you're thinking, oh dear, you're starting to fear for Luton a bit.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got Fulham 1, Stoke 0.
Yeah, this was it was a very big game, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's a Premier League game a couple of years ago, so it's obviously full of stars. I thought Jack Butland was excellent. I thought again
Incredible.
He was pulling out some great saves. I said a couple of weeks ago when I watched him at Middlesbrough that he kept stalking it for long periods, and he's pulling out some great saves and pulled out a great save in as part of the goal, and which Reed scored the winning goal. And I thought I was unlucky for Stoke. I thought Stoke had quite a lot of the play. They created a lot of chances. They probably should have scored a couple of goals themselves. They had a lot of possession in the game, but they just lacked that quality in the final third, and they don't really have. They don't really have the consistency. You know what I mean? He played Gregory up front again with McLean and Ince like he did at Middlesbrough, and he had Sam Vokes on the bench. But I know it's Christmas period. He probably mixed and changed his team around. But Fulham have had a decent week with beating Leeds and then drawing away with the last minute equaliser against Luton, and then obviously beating Stoke. So you know what I mean. But I think they'll count themselves quite lucky on Sunday that they got all 3 points.
Yeah, Bobby Reed's been very good for Fulham. Really, on the whole, since he's gone in, good finish. Fulham's problem is, and will be, and I think it's going to be the undoing, or if there is an undoing of their, of their season or of their promotion push, is their finishing. They miss too many chances, and that's something that they need to rectify. I'd say quickly, because they
totally agree.
And Mitrovic, you wouldn't expect to miss chances or miss the amount of chances that he does. Has missed a lot.
Yeah, totally agree.
I would love to go on to the next game, Mitch, but my screen's frozen.
Huddersfield against Blackburn.
Okay.
Obviously, Huddersfield started awful. Probably a little bit of a hangover from the Middlesbrough game. You know what I mean? Where they were very unfortunate. I thought second half they were better, but obviously lost the game. And Danny Graham scored a very good goal to open the scoring. And then Huddersfield started to come back in the game a little bit, and there was an incident with Juninho Bacuna. How it's not a penalty, I don't know. You know what I mean? The defender slid in, brought him out just in the 6-yard box. The referee, it didn't even give a free kick, didn't book him for diving. So I don't know what he thought happened in that. And that's sometimes when you think in a game, you think, oh, every decision's against us. But luckily enough for Huddersfield, they got themselves back in the game through Stankovic on the half hour from a Juninho Bacuna assist. And then second half, it was Moon. His goal was absolutely outstanding. You know what I mean? 30 yards. Huddersfield fully deserved to win the game. You know what I mean? I think we talk about Blackburn without simply backing. That came back side a little bit, and Huddersfield got the win, which gives them to get themselves out of the trouble. You know what I mean? Because obviously Charlton playing tonight. Obviously Charlton getting beaten tonight 2-0 by Derby. So. It brings them right into the trouble and keeps Huddersfield and Stoke City, gives them an opportunity to get things right.
Well, yeah, I mean, going back to Luton, it's one of the things that I would say to Luton is that the way this league is, it doesn't matter if you're a bit adrift by a couple of points, because there's just anyone could beat anyone, as we've seen with these results as we're going through them.
Yeah.
So it's kind of never over until it's really, really over.
Yeah.
Even more so than normal. By the way, that delivery for the Huddersfield's first goal,
it was outstanding.
Was outstanding. Maybe the keeper could have come, but I like to give the credit to Bacuna. I thought the delivery was unbelievable. And yeah, like you say, the winner's a quality goal. And as much as Blackburn have got some experience, some good players. Bradley Dack has been their threat creatively, creating everything going forward. They need. I feel for them because we've said for the last couple of weeks we can't believe their league position.
No.
Because we seem to talk about how well they're playing, how they've won again, and then you look at the league table and they're right down there in the mix, as it were. In the mix, great winner, Mounier.
Fantastic winner, and what I mean, just shows that they've got some really good players. They just need to pick some results up so they can just start playing a bit freely with a bit of confidence.
Yeah. And moving on to the next one, as we were just saying about the games, which anyone could beat anyone. You got the form team Brentford losing away to Millwall.
Yeah, not a great start from Brentford. To be fair, the overplay, give a silly goal away for.
How many times have we talked about this?
O'Brien,
Aidan
O'Brien. I don't get why teams do it. You know what I mean? Because people are taking these short goal kicks and just shooting themselves in the foot and giving goals away and giving teams a head start because Millwall they're a form side. You know what I mean? They've just been to Cardiff, got themselves a really good point. You know what I mean? So you can't afford to give any side a lead. You know what I mean? Especially sides at home and who are physically and mentally strong at home as well. And Brentford will rue that opportunity because they were in really good form. You know what I mean? So to give a goal away, you know what I mean? Sometimes you start the game, you get them turned, and you just want to start the game really brightly. But they didn't give themselves an opportunity really. And the longer the game went on, and you're chasing the game, and yes, they had a lot of possession, but they didn't really create as many chances as they normally do.
You know what I blame for it, mate? Is since they've allowed to take the goal kicks, and you can receive the ball in the box. The goal kicks don't have to go out of the box anymore. And for some reason, that's meant that teams now want to receive the ball in their own box. And it just makes no sense to me because the strikers are just going to close down, especially in the Championship. They're just going to close down, put you under all sorts of pressure. And I mean, when keepers received that ball from the defender, he's got to put his foot through it. You can see the two players, the striker's closing him down, but also there's another player, the player who goes, O'Brien, who goes on to score the goal, is stood on the edge of the box. He's got to put his foot through that. He's got to.
I totally agree. So I just think that teams have been watching Premier League teams for too long, and they watch Man City and Liverpool do it, and everybody thinks everybody can do it. And unfortunately, they're playing at this level for a reason. You know what I mean? That they're not in the Premier League and they're not ready for that. And teams are probably letting them have the ball, and then all of a sudden they're flooding them, like Millwall did on Saturday. They let them have it for a couple of seconds, flood them away, and then all of a sudden you give the ball away, you panic. The goalkeeper gives a ridiculous pass to a defender. The defender doesn't really want the ball in that area. You find yourself 1-0 down, and all of a sudden you're chasing the game, which you should be quite comfortable in.
Yeah, it's frustrating to watch. It's not just Brentford who've done it. Derby have done it, and
loads of teams have done
it. Brentford having a cracking season. Yes, they've spent money, but I do like their highest league position since I think it was World War II. So good for them.
Yeah.
One result doesn't undo that and undo what a good season they're having.
No, totally agree.
It'd be nice to see them go and get the playoffs.
Yeah.
Next up, Forest 1, Wigan 0.
Yeah, I've never seen I'll be honest, Forest have flattered to deceive all probably this last month, haven't they? Really, that they've had some really, really, really strange results. You know what I mean? They've got beat off Sheffield Wednesday quite heavily a few weeks ago. They've had some very, very strange games, and Wigan didn't get anything from this game, and I think that sums Wigan's season up so far. That they dominate the game of football. They missed a penalty. They had so many shots on target. To Forest, you know what I mean. That away from home, they have 64 possession to 36. They have 14 shots on goal. You know what I mean. Forest had 2 shots on goal and scored one of them. You know what I mean. It's just, I felt really sorry for Wigan because they dominate the game in football. But if you don't put your chances away and you miss penalties at crucial times, and then Josh Windass, you know what I mean, it causes a problem. But Forest needed that win because they'd been on a really, really downward run. Apart from obviously Boxing Day, obviously 3 games without a win, but maybe his Forest season's been turned around. You don't have to play great to win a game, so you just got to get the result.
Well, what's interesting about it, mate, is like we say, they have been not playing very well. They've dropped points. It's felt like they've been on this, like they've lost those 3 games before Boxing Day, but they're actually back in the playoffs again now. You know, just from the 2 results.
Yeah, shows how good the season. Shows how good a season they've had as well. Though I think that's the thing, that if they hadn't have lost those games, or you know what I mean, that didn't drop points against Middlesbrough, and you know what I mean, they didn't get beaten heavily against Sheffield Wednesday, because you look at Sheffield, you know what I mean, it just shows anyone can beat anybody on any given day, and the joy of the championship at the minute.
Yeah, they could be right up there, wouldn't they? You know, they've dropped points over those 3 games. Speaking of a team who's banging form, Reading beat Preston at Preston 2-0. Great result.
It was a great result, yeah. I think it just shows, I think what we just said there, the championship, but at the same time that obviously Swift scored the first goal, but scored an absolute worldie on Boxing Day. To score against Leeds, but at the same time, you know what I mean, Preston's defence, it wasn't their usual defence. They still created chances. They massively had, they had something like 70% of the possession I saw at the weekend. They had 20 plus shots, you know what I mean. So you know what I mean, they tried and they tried to go forward and push forward, but Reading are no mugs. And since Mark Bowen's gone in there, he's got them really, really well drilled. And you know what I mean? They're 5 games unbeaten. They won the last 3. They haven't let a goal in the last 4 games. You know what I mean? Stoke clean sheet, Derby clean sheet, QPR clean sheet, Preston clean sheet, against some good sides as well. So Mark Bowen's doing a really good job. But then they're still only 14th in the league. So you know what I mean? It shows that before he took over, they've had a slow start of the season. And Preston are just outside the playoffs. They play Middlesbrough next game, so they can't afford to drop any points there. They need to go into that game full of confidence and go and try and beat them, because they can't afford to drop down. But I believe that they will drop further and further down the table, because I don't think they've got enough firepower in there to sustain the full season for me.
Yeah, I agree. It goes to show why he gave himself the job.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, he obviously had a plan, didn't he?
Yeah, well, he's a director of football, so he's been watching and took notice of what was going on. And it's not like he's brought any players in. You know what I mean? He's tweaked a few things. He's got a few things right, and well, he's got loads of things right, but he's got the results right, and he's winning games. And he's making himself look a really good manager.
Preston fans, do they need to be worried, do you think, about the form?
I think you have to be worried, Si, with the way they've started, because if we said it last week, Si, if they drop out of the playoffs and they finish 10th, 11th, then they've had a failed season. You know what I mean? Regardless of what we said at the start of the season or what people thought at the start of the season, if they don't finish in a decent place now, they've had a poor season. And for me, I don't think they'll sustain it, and that's not me being negative, as it to prove us right what we said at the start of the season. The safest houses, so my judgment's right out the window anyway. But at the same time, they need to push. You know what I mean? If that's in the January window to recruit and freshen things up, then so be it. Because something's got to give, because they can't keep going the way they are, and they can't afford to keep losing at home, because Middlesbrough going in there 3 wins out of 3. So Middlesbrough going to go to Preston on in 2020, start of 2020, and going to go there full of confidence and want to beat them.
Yeah, spot on, mate. Next up, QPR 1-2. Great
Didn't
result.
see this. Didn't see this happening as well. I thought QPR dominated for long periods. Obviously, they created a lot of chances again. Hull snatched it in injury time off a set piece, and Irving scored off a Gerrard Bowen free kick. George Honeyman equalised for Hull. I watched a lot of him last season when he signed from Sunderland, because obviously a North East boy. But QPR, they took the lead, and then all of a sudden they just sat back and just expected the game to look after itself. And unfortunately, you can't let that happen, and obviously let themselves down, because that was, for me, that's a game for taking for them. You know what I mean? They're not free of the relegation dogfight. You know what I mean? So they need to start picking up points again because they let far too many goals inside. We've said how many goals they score. They score an abundance of goals. Well, they score 38 goals. They let 47 in the season. You know what I mean? 40, there's only Luton who've let more goals in than QPR. And QPR and we've been raving about them all season. So it shows how many goals that they've let in.
Think they hold on to Eze?
No, I don't. I'll be honest. I think he'll get himself a move, and probably rightly so, really, because he's one of the highlights of the Championship, and he's got a lot to probably progress a little bit further, if that's Premier League or if that's a bigger club. But you know, what I mean, he doesn't want to be involved in a dogfight at the same time, though, Sam.
No. So here's one for you then, mate. If Hull sell Gerrard Bowen,
yep,
and they use the money to buy or make an offer for Eze, is that a step up for him?
No. Personally, I don't think it is. No, because I don't see also Hull being able to sustain it, and it's having the right player at the right club at the right time. And at the minute, Eze is at the right club at the right time for him, for his development and the way that he plays with certain players. And the recruitment nowadays is so important, you know, because we spoke about how influential Stephen Fletcher is, how influential Paddy Bamford is, how influential Robson Khan, who's been over the last few weeks, and Bradley Dack is, you know what I mean, Lee Tomlin is, and Eze is in that category, Gerrard Bowen's in that category. You take those individuals out of those teams and they'll leave a massive hole.
Yeah, I agree completely. I thought it was a great result for Hull. I thought they played very well. And what they needed to do was to score goals without Gerrard Bowen scoring them. And they've done just that. Scored 2. He was involved though heavily, but
massively. He always is. I don't think there's a game goes by that he's not involved in something. If that's a goal or if he's an outstanding footballer and got immense talent. And I'd be very surprised if he's still there early January.
He's a machine.
Yeah, he is.
The only 0-0 of the day next, which was Swansea City 0, Barnsley 0. I was surprised that this was 0-0. I got to be honest.
Yeah, well, so was I, because Barnsley can't defend, and they're good going forward. And you know, what I mean, I thought that was going to leave big gaps for Swansea to attack and Swansea to play the football. But at the same time, I thought they were both pretty solid, and but at the same time, both missed chances. And you know, I thought it was a game. It wasn't a game for the purists, but I think both teams will see it as a little bit of. I think Barnsley will still be a little bit disappointed with it because of the way the game panned out, and obviously Swansea will be disappointed that they didn't capitalise on playing a side at the bottom of the league and to progress going forward. Because if you've got any aspirations about going upside, you've got to beat Barnsley at home. You have to.
Yeah, you should be, shouldn't you?
Yeah.
But you know, you can only beat what's in front of you. And
exactly. Totally agree.
Swansea just too much this year. Haven't done enough.
No, not done enough. No, and I think that's the thing. They don't create enough chances. You know what I mean? They heavily rely on AU and heavily rely on other individuals, and unfortunately, you know what I mean. You can't. You know what I mean? There's too many teams in the league at the minute who've got a lot more individuals who can help the team out better than just one or two.
Yeah, indeed. And that is, if I'm not mistaken, that's all the games, mate.
It is, apart from
tonight's game.
Derby, who Lyle Taylor's just scored, by the way, from a
Excellent.
penalty. Derby have had somebody sent off, but we're in the 96th minute, and it's 2-1 to the Rams.
Oh, right. So have you had one eye on that, mate?
Just for the bottom of the league, just as the goals going in. So I haven't been watching anything. I've just I was saying that. I've just looked at it there. And, what's he called here? I remember Christian Bielik got sent off after 17 minutes for Derby, and Jason Knight, 18-year-old Derby midfielder, scored 2. Never heard of him.
Never heard of him.
So, but yeah. So it'll be interesting if Mr. Rooney is selected on the first game back.
Yeah, selected. I think you mean installed.
well, to be fair, he's a very lucky. He's a very lucky man that they're winning, by the way, because I think he may have lost his job tonight if he'd have lost. I know we've joked repeatedly about with people on social media, but I'm 100% behind him that he would have lost his job if he'd got beat tonight.
Yeah, I agree. He would have most definitely lost his job. Okay. Let's have a look. So let's go to do our 2 for 2s. And this is where myself and Andy pick. If you can hear me type it away, it's because I'm trying to work out my championship team of the year.
It's all right. Mine's on your side. Just let to see it. No.
I really should have done mine before because I had access to the questions beforehand. I didn't, so I've been like frantically.
So I've written mine down, mate. So I haven't. It's not that really. I'm not that clever. Remember, ex-footballer. I'm not that clever.
I just sent you a message on our little chat thing, and you haven't responded, which is.
I haven't got one.
I was looking for help. See.
Oh, hang on. That's how you have.
So anyway, where myself and Andy picked 2 big performances, moments, or players, and the 2 nightmares for the weekend. So we are going to start with the downs. We'll start with because I know that we've got one the same. Because it was that bad that I decided I wasn't going to change it. So yeah. So who got your first down, mate?
One of my first down. I'm going for Wes Harding for his own goal against Leeds in injury time because I didn't get it. You know what I mean? I said earlier about that. Normally the ball would just hit him and it would just go in the net. But he's tried to. I don't know what he's trying to do. I'd love to ask him. You know what I mean? But he's tried to kick it and he's kicked it in his own goal, and it just makes it look better. It does. It makes it like a more of a funnier moment because if it just hit him, I'd feel really sorry for him. But he kicked it in, so I've got no sympathy for him. You know what I mean? He scored a proper own goal there. So good luck to him.
Yeah, it wasn't pretty. So I've gone for my first down. Down. I've gone for Junior Hoylett for his disgusting challenge. Should have been a red. And I gotta be fair, me and you have slated various challenges from various teams over the season.
We've been very consistent, though, Si, haven't we? Been very consistent.
Yeah, always, mate. Always. Whether it's to do with goalkeepers or players or whatever it may be, tackles. We've been fair to everyone.
Yeah, totally agree.
Swansea and Leeds players, and and Junior Hoylett was a poor challenge, and it should have been a red card.
Yeah, lucky. And then he probably should have got sent off for what he did to Joe. So he's had a rubbish afternoon, hasn't he? And he scored. So.
He scored a great goal as well. Good finish. Who you got for your next one?
I've gone for numerous people. So I've gone for Brentford's back 4 and their goalkeeper. It's like none of them wanted the ball. It's like they were told to play this certain way, but nobody wanted to do that. And the goalkeeper didn't want it. I'll pass to the fullback. The fullback didn't want it. I'll give it back to the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper certainly didn't want it. I'll pass it back to the centre half. And then all of a sudden, in pops Aidan O'Brien, 1-0. You're just making a rod for your own back and causing your own problems. So my down is the stupidity and the overplaying of another championship side, but this time Brentford.
Yeah, I've gone for the same. I went for basically the same reasons. But as I just mentioned when we talked about the game, look, I can't be having that keeper. He should have. So I've kind of gone more for the keeper, even though I blame the defender for putting him in that position.
Yeah,
the keeper's giving it to the defender. And as soon as he's giving him a hospital ball back, the keeper's got to put his foot through it. No messing. He's got it.
Kick it out for a throw-in.
Just smash it up the pitch.
Yeah, not bothered.
So yeah, you got for your first up there, mate.
My first up, I don't think anyone will be surprised, and I've gone for Ashley Fletcher's wonder goal because credit where credit's due. You know what I mean? He's not that type of player for me. He's quick. He reminds me a little bit of myself in terms that he always runs the shoulders, runs the channels, and then when he did that on Saturday, that was just outstanding. You know what I mean? That You know, I think I thought probably the furthest out goal I scored was probably the Millennium Stadium, so he probably doubled that with the length that he scored, and with it being the last minute as well, his legs must have been tired, and he gave it a proper whack, and you know what I mean, fair play to him, and then his celebration, to have the energy to run all the way down to the other end to celebrate with your own fans, just shows how excited and delighted he was. So yeah, he's got my first up.
Yeah, you don't score many of them, though, do you? Really?
Nah, so you got to enjoy him while they last, because it was what did I watch the other day? I watched something about, it was somebody, and they were reminiscing about the last goal, and at the time you don't realise it's the last goal, and I hope it's not. But if that's Ashley Fletcher's last goal in professional football, then you know what I mean, that's amazing.
Can't fault him.
You know what I mean? So you got to enjoy him while they last.
Indeed, you have. So I've gone for. It'll be no surprise to many. I've gone for Lee Tomlin again. He's been popular.
Mr. Consistent.
Well, 7
Mr.
assists in 10 games. It's been incredible. He's been a big part of Neil Harris's good start as manager of Cardiff City. We said all along that he needed a run of games, and he deserved them after the shape he got himself into in the summer.
Yeah,
he didn't get them off Neil Warnock. He's got them from Neil Harris, he's got them from Neil Harris. He's he's got the ability to play in the top half of the Premier League, but is easily on talent alone one of the best players in the Championship on his day, and he is showing it again.
Yep.
Who you got next, mate?
I've gone for Cafu, aka Luke Ayling, because on Saturday it was just unplayable. He was bombing on like Roberto Carlos and Cafu used to do back in the 90s, and you know what I mean. What did he do? 2 assists and scored an excellent goal himself. You know what I mean. So he grabbed the game by the scruff of the neck. He had energy to burn. He was bombing on. You know what I mean. They've got some excellent players, Leeds, and I see him sometimes as like Mr. Consistent. He's always an 8 out of 10 player, and you'd always know what you're going to get from him. He gets stuck in, he wins his battles. You know what I mean? He'll dig his heels in when he needs to, but he showed me on Saturday that he's got more to his game than just that. He's got quality. What goes with his performance, and if he can kick on and push on like that, then players like that deserve to platform their football in the Premier League. And if he can do that and carry this form on with Leeds, then he'll be able to do that next season in the Premier League.
Spot on, mate. So I thought about Ayling, obviously. I thought about Jude Bellingham. Because I just thought he had
I thought about him as well.
I thought about the goalkeeper who slated all season. I can't remember his name. Butland.
Jack Butland, yeah.
And let's make no mistake, by the way, we've slated him all season because we know he is so good.
We've also praised him, Si, since I praised him at the Middlesbrough game. That was about 2 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago. So we are slow. The thing is, we slated him because of his performances. And now we're praising him because of his performances. Everything is down to his own personal performance levels, and they haven't been good enough.
So I could have given it to Jonathan Swift because he's outstanding. He was outstanding on Boxing Day. But I've gone for Tyler Blackett of Reading. His teammate, 2 assists, excellent game. And look, we've talked before about players gambling on themselves, players like a JG from Cardiff, Bobby Reid. There's been, numerous others, Tyler Harris, Kadeem Harris, players who were on the bench and they know they believe in themselves. Tyler Blackett was a Man United. He could have easily broke through into the first team during Van Gaal's stint. Yeah, he played a lot of first team football that year. Then when the new manager came in, didn't really fancy him. So he went out to Celtic on loan. Didn't really work out for him there. He's gone to Reading, and I thought he was very, very, very good. He had 2 assists, which is obviously good for a defender as well. But just generally good on the ball, good off the ball. Excellent.
Great shout. So I got a question and I follow that up with what you just said there. So it didn't work out for him at Celtic. So does that prove to you then that Scottish football is not as strong as Championship?
Sorry, my screen froze there. Honest. No, I look, mate. I was quite vocal last week when we talked about it. For me, Scottish football's crap.
Yep. At best.
Yeah. And I still am not convinced that if you put the top 5 teams in Scotland now, whoever they are,
Wouldn't happen. Yeah. Wouldn't.
if you put those teams into the Championship for a season,
struggle.
I'm not convinced that those 5 teams wouldn't be in like the bottom half, say, all of them.
Easy. Totally agree. Totally agree.
And that's in the Championship.
Totally agree.
Right, if like Leeds, Simon, come on. If Celtic and Rangers, yeah, maybe you could say, all right, they might do, be in the top, pushing for a promotion in the Championship. I can kind of do that. They got a bigger budget and everything.
Yeah.
The rest of them, I'm not really having. Mate.
Totally agree.
I just think they would struggle.
Totally agree.
Even like I just think Barnsley, for instance, would tear apart your Motherwell, your Hull, your Hearts, your Aberdeen,
your Hibernians.
The quality is just not there. Like, don't get me wrong. Yeah. There's one or two really good players within that Scottish league system, and I'm sure every team's got one or two players who are very good. But as a whole, I just think that the teams are not good enough.
But those players, when they do well, they come down south to play football for that very reason. So
spot on, my brother. Okay, so it's a good question, Ant. Good question.
Yeah, thanks. Well, I thought I'd ask you a question before you get your question in a minute. Warm you up.
Yeah, getting ready because
warm you up.
Don't get many, do I?
No, we'll have to.
That way though.
We'll have to start something. Maybe I can get you one every week. Hey, there's a new segment.
Celebrity question, and you could just find different footballers to ask me a question, like the reverse podcast.
Yeah.
It's an idea.
Let's do it.
Always thinking.
Tell you what, always learning. Always learning.
Yeah, always got ideas, mate, for new stuff.
Yeah, full of them.
This is going to be fun now, mate.
I know.
I've seen the questions.
Yeah, well, I haven't. That's my concern.
Okay. And to finish off, well, before we do the main event, we will have some questions.
I hope my screen doesn't freeze, eh?
Yeah, that's it, no? You can send your questions for Andy every week to facebook.com/AceCastNation or Twitter @AceCast_Nation. Use the hashtag AceNationArmy or email acenetworkcontact@gmail.com. Okay, so I'll give you the choice. Do you want to do all the questions and then do the word association from Peaches? Or do you want to do the word association, then all the questions?
Word association first.
Oh, you are a glutton for punishment. You are.
And then if I need to say if I can't think of any, I can do it at the end.
Okay.
So
it's good thinking.
What do you mean when I can't think of any?
She did say, I texted you earlier and I said she emailed me and said she was going to send in a special end of year one, which would be ultra orcs, as she said.
Ultra awkward. Oof.
So, word association, as you know, you just say the first person which springs to mind, preferably, footballers, people or celebrities or whatever, people we know. Because otherwise, it's just like you listed off a load of people we don't know.
Fair one.
You'd also just make up people then, couldn't you?
Yeah, could you?
They are, yeah, my Billy, my neighbour.
Yeah, next door, Dave over the road.
Okay, so which one? Sorry, I'm going to start with the easy ones. Biggest bullshitter.
Easy.
Peaches.
Well, biggest bullshitter.
Language. Peaches.
Steve McLaren.
You watch now. Steve McLaren's going to be the answer to all of these now. Arrogant twat.
Ooh. Dave Jones.
Stan Collymore.
Dave Jones.
Yeah, good shot. Bully.
Nigel Pearson.
Ooh, back in the news recently for some positive stuff this time.
Yeah, to be fair, I'll explain that one as well, then, because it was just really tough on me when I was a young player. You know what I mean? And you probably will look at it and think that it could have been bullying. You know what I mean? But it was really hard. You know what I mean? And if that was me, probably looking at as an outsider looking in, I'd have probably said something. But yeah, you're scared, intimidated, and I'd be intimidated playing for him now. And he was my captain. So yeah, I'll call Nigel. Big Nigel.
Nigel. Too nice.
Too nice. Peter Thorne.
Legend. Magic hat.
Yeah, great lad, great player, but probably too nice. And sometimes you want him to have a little bit of a nasty streak in him, but never did.
Weak.
Oh God.
Now we're getting a bit tricky now.
Now we're getting tasty. Yeah, weak. 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 Reece Weston.
Oh.
Mentally weak.
Oof.
Mentally weak. There we go. Loved getting cramped in Reece, even in the playoff final. Always remember.
That was before the goal as well.
Never forget. And then he sprinted down. By the way, if you watch the video, Reece.
Cramp had gone.
Quickest you've moved all season, mate.
Ooh. I've been trying to get it. I've been trying to get him on as well. He never replies to mine.
He's a good lad. Just loved a bit of cramp. He's probably got cramp now.
Yeah, well, just watch
He's
him.
got cramp now.
Sluttiest teammate.
Oh, sluttiest teammate. Gary Croft. Gary Croft loved himself. Crofty loved himself. Loved himself, Crofty.
That's all of them, mate.
Is that all of them? Oh,
yeah. She tried to stitch you up, but you breezed through them easy.
Just battered him off there. Battered him off comfortably.
That was easy. I'm gonna have
try
to
hard.
Peaches, try harder.
Try harder. Could do better.
She'll come back. She'll be back.
Oh God, with a vengeance.
Yeah. The return. Okay, let's have a look. So Gaz says, best and worst moments of 2019 in the football world from both of you.
Go on, Si, I'll let you go first.
No, thanks. I really appreciate that because I've not got a clue.
Oh, don't you go then? I've got. Well, the worst. I'm going VAR because it's just for me. It's just ruined 2019 worth of football, and you know what I mean on the biggest stage. You know what I mean. So that my bad is that, and then my highlight of football 2019 is doing this show with you and looking at the championship and realizing how good football is outside of the biggest division in the world, because the championship has got some unbelievable players in it. It's littered with goals. It's got some great grounds, great attendances. You know what I mean? We're lucky enough to talk about it on a weekly basis, and it just shows how good it is. And I'm going to be gutted in the summer when we lose six sides, but then we're potentially going to get six bigger and better sides to come in and talk about. So it's only going to get bigger and better this show because of that reason.
Going to be interesting, isn't it? I'm going to go with, personally for me, Wales qualifying for the Euros is my best.
Great shout.
And the worst is the amount of times that I've had to talk about racism in football this year. I think it's a load of bullshit.
Yeah.
I'm fed up of it.
Yeah, I'll have another worse one. Is the amount of international breaks we've had this season already.
Yeah, they can bugger off as well.
Yeah, pointless ones. I don't mind it. I don't mind them for major tournaments, but it's the friendlies. Just can the friendlies. Pointless exercise. Exercise.
I've lost my questions. Right, here we go. He also wants to know: will you ever release the videos of you talking before and after shows, and the lost show #outtakes?
I seen that this afternoon, and I'm sure people think that there was something dubious about what we said that day. Honestly, there wasn't, was it? It was just it was just one of those.
Glitch.
Yeah, it's one of those things. But the conversations that we have, Sire, they're superb, though, aren't they? Before
the show,
we put the world to rights.
Bad.
We put the world to rights, and then we come on full of beans for do the show. It's
ready
great
for the show. I do have. I think it's the first about 30 minutes of that show that we lost. So, and I've got like some of the conversations that we had before.
Just send it
to him personally.
Send it to him. Yeah,
he's obviously got to be in his bonnet about it, haven't he? So
yeah.
No, I've got. I will do something at some point with him, but like the thing is, what I tend to do is when we speak before the show, I don't record straight away. So we have a chat, and then just as we're about to start, I'll start recording, but we end up still chatting for a few minutes. So there's some longer than others. So we don't. Can you not hear me?
I can hear.
All right. Yeah, and it's just like, so they're not as long as the chats actually are, like, but we've had some entertaining stuff. Not sure if anyone's recorded. Talking about Big Stan.
Yeah. He's always a topic of conversation. Never good though.
No, it's never good. So then we obviously got the Championship Team of the Year, which I'll leave that to last because that's like a long-winded one. Someone you play football with, I assume, asks, can we ask Andy about his free kick technique when playing for Stokesley?
I'll explain this, by the way, because 3 years ago, what I was 37, I decided to put my boots back on and get fit and help my mate out, who's Steve's the manager. So I thought I'd ring him up and say, do you fancy an experienced player who can help you out? So he said, of course. I said, do you know anyone? You know what I mean? So tried to pull a fast one. So anyway, helped him out. First game of the season. We must have had about 5 free kicks on the edge of the box. I didn't even want to take him, mate. I'll be honest, I couldn't think of anything worse. So he made me take the first one, put that about 40 yards over the bar. Took the second one, put that about 50 yards over the bar. Took the third one. I think it's still travelling 3 years later. Took the next one, just passed it straight to the keeper's hands. I think they went up the other end and scored. And then the fifth one, I don't even think got anywhere near the goal. So yeah, it was eventful. I haven't took one since. Retired me free kicks, put them to bed.
You retired them, or they retired you?
I think he retired my free kicks, but I think he forgot to mention though that I got him promoted though. He forgot to mention that, by the way. Yeah. 40 years old, got him promoted. So he
dragged him up the leagues, did you?
I made him look good, mate. He knows it.
The goal collector, isn't it?
Yeah, it's what it is.
So, have you ever played in a match with a proper fight, pro or amateur?
Yes. There was one in particular. So we played Crystal Palace away for Cardiff. A fight occurred. I was involved in it. Willie Boland got sent off just before the fight occurred a little bit. So he got sent off for a tackle, I think it was, and then there was a bit of a melee. A few punches were thrown. One was thrown by myself at Sean Derry, which the referee saw, sent me off. To be fair, it's not like me that, but I'd lost my head for seeing redness for about 5 seconds and paid big time for it, literally.
Who was the manager then?
Dave Jones.
Yeah, that's why he didn't like you.
Exactly, yeah. Let him down. I let myself down, let the club down, let the players down, the fans down, the manager down, myself down, family down, everybody down, and I know that. But in the heat of the moment, sometimes you think it's the right thing to do, and you know what I mean. I just wish I'd have connected with him. No,
you missed it, did you?
Yeah, like a big girl.
Couldn't reach him, could you?
No, it was like a slap. It was ridiculous. You know what I mean? So yeah, could do better. Like Peaches, I could do better.
Well, do you know, I've always wondered. I always think, like, you know, when you see like players like they get sent off for like slapping a player or like pushing them in the face, and I always think, Jesus, if you're that pissed off, like, that you're so angry you gotta like lash out, and you
Yeah.
know you're going to get sent off because
You might as well
everyone
do.
knows you're going to go. You may as well just
Do a good job of it.
smash them in
Yeah.
the teeth.
Yeah. Well, that's what I thought all the way back to South Wales. I thought the same. I thought I've been sent off. I'm going to get. I've been fined 2 weeks' wages because he's already told me I'm going to get a 3-game ban. So I might as well have done a proper job. So it's just that was my thought process for about 3 hours on the way back on the bus.
Have you spoken to Sean Derry since?
No, he didn't get me a Christmas card either. Gutted.
Wrong. There's
Gutted.
another footballer you've fallen out with.
It's on the list.
The list is getting longer, mate.
It's a long list. Yeah, the problem might be me, not them.
Yeah, maybe. My friend Neil Coops wants to know: did you go on the lash with Paul Merson and Gaza?
Yes, on a number of occasions. We had a really, really, really healthy social culture at Middlesbrough under Brian Robson. And sometimes it was a case of we used to get a phone call on a Sunday morning from the gaffer each about 11 o'clock. Sometimes I'd still be in bed because I was hungover from the night before, to tell us to meet in Yarm in the Black Bull at lunchtime for team bonding, and we used to stay there till 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon, and then the manager would leave and just state quite clearly that I'll see you all tomorrow at training. I don't care what happens here as long as you come to training tomorrow. So it worked because we were relatively successful, and we played hard, but we partied even harder, and that was just the culture of how it happened, and you know what I mean. But I think when foreigners started to come in, they didn't really buy into what players still did, and it's hard to change that mentality because even when I signed for Cardiff, it was like when I signed for Cardiff, it was all these bright lights, and I'm now living in a city which, you know what I mean, even a Monday night's busy. You know what I mean? When Middlesbrough, it was a Saturday night, Sunday night, maybe it's a Thursday night if I'm lucky. Where Cardiff now, I'm living in a city which is busy 24/7, 7 days a week. It's like Christmas every day. It was difficult, but at the same time, you're there to do a job, but at the same time, it's hard to change your way of living and the culture that you've been brought up on previously at a previous club.
Yeah, and the thing is as well is I think in any employment or any work or team is that the teams which go out together and have beers and have that like camaraderie and good team spirit, and they have banter and laugh and have a good crack all the time. I think they're the teams, not just in football, but in all walks of life, which are the most successful.
Well, when we got promoted, Si, we had an amazing team bond. You know what I mean? We used to meet every Sunday for dinner. It was women, boy, and the lads. It used to be the lads would play pool. There'd be dinner, drinks if you wanted it. You know what I mean? There was no pressure. It was, you know what I mean? If you wanted to drink all day, by all means, drink all day. As long as you turned up for training tomorrow and you give it your all, and whatever was said to you, you did it and you got on with it. Cav, who was captain and in charge of us all anyway, he didn't mind, you know what I mean, as long as we put a shift in, and you know what I mean. But when we had a game on a Tuesday and Wednesday, we didn't do it, you know what I mean. So it was a case of you do it when we can, and midweek as if we ever got a day off through the week, we'd socialise together, go for a meal together, go to casino together, and just do it right, because we had a good mix. We had a good mix of the younger lads with Ernie, Gabs, Ginge, Gethin Jones, and etc. And then we had a couple of the Irish lads and the Scottish lads and a couple of older lads, and you know what I mean. And we had a couple of North East lads as well with me. So it was we had a really good blend, a really good mix. So it was always good to socialise together. And but yeah, it's easier to do it as a whole group than it is sometimes when you're going out with the Gazas and the Paul Inces and the Paul Mersons. It's sometimes a bit nerve-wracking because you don't want to step over the mark, and you don't want to embarrass yourself a little bit when you're doing it with those lots. So it's trying to get that fine balance as well.
Indeed. My 10-year-old boy wants to know how you were discovered and became a professional footballer.
Well, I was very lucky when I started playing football side, because I played for a team called Martin Juniors, and Martin Juniors were massively successful over the years, and they produced Stewie Downing, Jonathan Woodgate, myself, David Wheater. Well, we've had tons and tons of players. Ben Gibson, you know what I mean. So they've produced England internationals, players who play for the 21s, and the majority of players who come through the Middlesbrough ranks. So I got signed at Middlesbrough whilst playing for Martin when I was 12. I signed schoolboy forms when I was 14 for 2 years, and then when I got to 16 when I left school, I signed a 2-year YTS, which when I left school was like an apprenticeship now, and I did a year of that before I made my debut, and then I signed pro. So, you know what I mean, I just played for local team, which was down the road from myself. My mum took me one Saturday morning because I was doing the Reading a little bit. So, and then the rest history, so to speak, because I loved the training, played there with my brother, and never looked back really.
Tidy. Okay, so and the last question, which is a bit of a long one, which I mentioned earlier. Oh, actually, I thought of a question during the show. Christmas Day training. Are you for or against that?
It's just been a norm for me. So every club I've been at, I've done it every year. So you know, what I mean, Christmas Day has always been a work day for me. It's never been you know what I mean. We've always had a game the next day, and I've always seen it as a way to prepare right for the next day. Because if I didn't train, I would have had to do something myself. Because if I didn't play very well, I'd have always thought, is it because I didn't prepare very well? It was not a case of drinking. It's a case of
just not.
You know what I mean? And Christmas Day has never been a day where I've ate loads and been full after Christmas dinner. Christmas Day and dinner was always a case of chicken and pasta and having the same thing I'd have on a Friday night before a Saturday game. So never really celebrated Christmas as a Christmas Day. It would always be normally a New Year's Day dinner after a New Year's Day game or tea, or I would have another Christmas Day dinner the day after Boxing Day after the game was. So it was just the way it had to be. And you know what I mean, I see players they're not complaining, but it's like that they want people to feel sorry for them in a way. It's happened for years. It's going to continue. I think it's a good idea. I think, you know what I mean, you've got to sacrifice a lot to be a footballer and be a professional footballer, and to give up one day, you know what I mean, is even having a young family. It's just it is what it is. Si. You know, I remember when I was on loan at Oxford United that I stayed over Christmas Eve in a hotel. I trained Christmas morning, and then I drove all the way back to Middlesbrough to see my little girl and open the Christmas presents and have a dinner. Then to drive all the way back Christmas night to stay in a hotel for the game on Boxing Day. So you do what you need to do. You know what I mean? How easy or how hard it is what it is. It's just of course. It's just for me it's essential. And you know what I mean? Especially nowadays, managers live and die by results. And if you lose your job over Christmas because your players haven't been in Christmas Day, it's not worth it.
Yeah, of course. What about Boxing Day then? Do you think that games should be played on Boxing Day?
I do for the enjoyment and give supporters, because there's that many. The crowds are massive. You know what I mean? I went to the Middlesbrough game against Huddersfield, and the crowd was probably 9,000 or 10,000 more fans than Middlesbrough have had previous 2 home games. So just for that reason alone, it's revenue for the club. It gives supporters and families a chance to go and watch the club and watch your team. And if you're not lucky enough to go and watch a game because your team's away, you can watch it on TV, because there's that many games live on TV over Christmas period. I just think it's a great idea, because what would you do over Christmas without football? People who still go to the pub and drink, but at least you can go watch the game of football in between, so you probably won't drink as much, because it keeps you busy a little bit. You know what I mean? So it keeps you out of the pub a little bit. So it's probably an excuse.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that about the attendance and stuff, because I was at my in-laws Boxing Day, and we watched the game, and we were commenting. We can't remember Cardiff, the Cardiff City Stadium being as empty as it was on Boxing Day. Like, Boxing Day used to be a massive thing with Cardiff. He used to take my wife, and I used to go with my old man when I was little, and bizarre. I just know not. There was a lot of empty seats. And I think
it's always notoriously a massive day for football fans, isn't it, to go and watch your team.
I think a part of it is because, like, Amazon had every single game on, I think, in the Premier League.
I don't think that. I do. And also as well, mate. Christmas is expensive at the best of times. And
of course, yeah.
You know what I mean? If you've got your kids the latest this, that, and wherever, and then a game of football is going to cost you another £100, then Do you know what I mean? It's a big hit, another hit, which can be avoided really, especially if you can watch it on the TV.
It is indeed. So we got asked to name our championship team of the year, but not for the season, for 2019. So what we're going to do is we're going to name them together. So we'll both say our keeper, and we'll go work through it. And then what I'll do is I'll put the teams in the description, and people can tell us who they think would win.
Right, okay.
What have you got? Have you got like 11 and 5 subs?
I've got I've got 11 and 5 subs and a manager. I've got a formation and everything. Side.
Yeah, I go on as well. I've gone for 3-5-2 myself.
Yes, so have I. Have you seen my team?
You showed it to me earlier, didn't you, with a piece of paper? Okay, so obviously we might have some of the same players, but it is what it is.
Maybe.
You're pretty sure. There we go.
Maybe.
Okay, so who's your manager?
Bielsa from Leeds United.
That's a good start. I got him too.
Have you?
Yeah.
Go on then. Who's your goalie then? Because we'll alternate. Because there you go.
So my first choice goalie is Ainsley Pears of Borough.
Oh, all right. Okay, so I've gone for Darren Randolph for Middlesbrough because I just think
I'm in an hour in between the two of them.
His performances over the year for me have been outstanding, and wherever he ends up in January, because he's going to definitely gone in January the 1st. I believe he's gone to the Premier League. I don't know where, but he will be leaving the Riverside.
Yeah, I went for Pears for youth, basically.
Yeah, fair one.
So you got 3-5-2 as well, haven't you?
Yeah, I've got 3 defenders. Yeah.
Got on. So who's your first defender?
I've gone for Pontus Jansson, and I don't think he's been that good this year, but I've gone for him over the course of, because he was obviously very good for Leeds last year as well. So I've gone for Pontus as my first defender.
I've gone for Max Aarons of Norwich.
Nice, good one. I've gone for Liam Cooper for Leeds United. I think he's been immense for a couple of seasons now. He can wear the captain's armband as well. He's very consistent. So I've gone for Liam Cooper for another one.
I've gone Curtis Davis.
Nice. I was going to put Curtis in, but instead I've gone for my final one. I've gone for somebody who I picked for one of me up to start the season. I've gone for Nathan Ferguson for West Brom. And he's just been, he's only young, so I've gone for a bit of youth because I've been very impressed with him all season.
So I had Ferguson, but I took him out because I put in a JG from West Brom.
Nice.
Been very impressed with him, and I
wanted
his
he's been
youth.
excellent.
So they're my three defenders, and then my holding midfielder is Glick from Leeds.
Nice one. I've gone for Jude Bellingham as one of my midfielders, one of my centres, because I couldn't. I've just gone for. I'm just going. I'm like Kevin Keegan. I'm just going all out attack. So I've gone Jude Bellingham, one of my midfielders. I'll throw another one in. So I've gone for Bradley Dack as another one of my centres because I couldn't leave him out. I can't praise him week in, week out.
Go on, tell me your other third. You tell me your third central midfielder, and then I'll tell you mine.
My one just above them two, so my one just behind me two is I've gone for Pereira from West Brom.
So I've got my 3 central midfielders are Glick, Dack, and Grealish.
Oof! Wowzers!
You got as your wide players.
2 wide. Well, I was trying to fit one of them in up front, but I couldn't, so I've had to put him wide. So that might give it away. And it's Gerrard Bowen, and I don't believe he'll be in the Championship for much longer, but I do believe he'll be a Premier League player by next season. But Gerrard Bowen's one of my wide players.
Yeah, I've got Gerrard Bowen and Pereira as my wide players.
As my other one, I've gone for Jed Wallace because every time I watch him, he's just electric. And there was someone who I'll mention when he's on when I name his subs, but I'm gutted I couldn't find a place for him. But every time I've watched Jed Wallace, he either scores or he sets something up. So yeah. What about one of your centre forwards then, Si?
So I've gone for Mitrovic.
Yeah, so have I. How can you not put him in it? How can you not put him in? So that's where I was going to struggle. What about your other one then?
I'll tell you what then. Before we do our last centre forward, who have you got on the bench?
Oh, my subs are amazing. My subs are very attacking orientated, by the way. I've got no keeper, no defender,
yeah, I've got no keeper.
gone for 5 attackers. So I've gone for Eze, Joe Lolly, Ollie Watkins, Grozicki, and Lewis Grabban.
I've gone for Bellingham, Pontus Jansson, Adam Reach, Pookie from Norwich,
Adam Reach,
Connor
Pookie,
Chaplin.
Yeah. Oh, Connor Chaplin, yeah. I think we can both agree that both our subs benches would change the game.
Yeah. So who's your
if
final
needed.
striker then?
And Aaron. I've gone for Stephen Fletcher.
Yeah,
and that's
I
probably
dropped
that's
him.
probably not just for this season. I've gone for probably previously as well. I think he's been Mr. Consistent for years, and I probably only really selected him because of how much he's been missed these last 3 games for Sheffield Wednesday as well.
Fair shout. I've gone for Grozicki.
I
had Fletcher and I had a couple of others, but I just settled on them, and because I figured Glick, Bowen, Dak, Grealish, and Pereira would,
Yeah, well, I was going to go Lewis Grabban, and I was going to go Lewis Grabban for Aston Villa last season because I thought he was just one of their main players while he got promoted. But he's a Championship player, isn't he? That's why he's gone back into the Championship.
Indeed. So yeah, I'll put those teams in the description on the on the YouTube subscription, and you guys can tell us which team you think is the best. Yes. So just
one thing we can guarantee, sir, that game against my team and your team would not finish 0-0.
Well, I don't know. I got Ainsley Pears in goal. Those were mine.
Right, he's going to be very busy though, because I think both defenders are going to struggle against. My front 8 might cause you a problem.
Nah, I got Max Aaron and a JG. I'm pretty sure I only picked. Do you know what? I had Joe Rolls in my team, and I dropped him for Bradley Dack, and I didn't even put him on the bench. No Cardiff players in my team. That's depressing.
Big statements. Oh, yeah, I didn't even either.
I'm honest.
Yeah. Yes, so am I.
And I don't believe that there's a Cardiff player in the. Obviously, they were in the Championship last year.
Yeah, I think that's the issue. That, you know what I mean. If it was the decade, for example. Yeah, I think you could have.
Can you believe that Peter Whittingham didn't get in the Championship team of the decade?
It's ridiculous.
It's bullshit.
It's ridiculous. He's probably the best midfielder.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Really, really. I'm not one to get all offended over these sorts of things because they're subjective, but for him to not be in it, I think is pathetic. To be honest.
Yeah, it's rubbish.
Especially if you look at some of the names on there. But anyway, okay, let's finish with the greatest segment, TV, radio, internet history. And I think we should have someone write us a jingle for it because, it's 10 seconds long, but it's the longest 10 seconds of your life. Fake Geordie, bingo lingo. Come on. Make it a good one to finish the year.
I've gone for a play. So if anybody ever comes to Middlesbrough and to the area, you've got to visit Whitby. Whitby is probably one of the nicest seaside resorts ever. But when you go there, and as a kid, and I went not so long ago, and there's the Whitby Abbey, so a church at the top of this big massive hill. But the thing is, what you always remember when I was a kid is how many steps there are to get to it, and you've got to count them as you walk up them. And if you forget to count, you have to go back to the start and count again. And there's 199 steps up to Whitby Abbey, and it's just one of those things that you always remember. You walk up, you count on the way down, and if you spend all day doing it because you get halfway and you forget, and you've got to start again, and it's just your mums and dads it's just one of the most nicest places to go as a kid, and as a big kid like I am now, you still want to go and keep teaching your kids. So yeah, Whitby Abbey, definitely a place to go and visit.
Wicked. And that's another bit of northern culture.
Yeah, always learn.
Cultivated and taken into my big old brain. And I totally won't forget them all by the time I come to Middlesbrough.
No, I won't let you.
Never. I remember everything. So, guys, that's it. That's 2019 done. The best way to help us continue our growth as a channel and as a show is for you guys to interact with our posts, leave comments on the YouTube videos, and leave reviews and stuff with the podcast. Helps us move up the search lists, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Click the bell so you get notified every time we upload a new show. And if you're feeling especially generous, then leave us a review on Apple Pods, because these are the things which, like I say, help us get further up the Google searches, further up the YouTube searches, so we can find people who might be just searching for football or championship or podcasts or whatever it may be. Because, we got you guys, but we want more. We want more. And as Johnny Wishbone, he's been on it again today, sending tweets out to some radio station. He loves it. He's like our agent who sends in really weird questions. Excuse me. You can follow Andy on Twitter at Andy Campbell 32, and you can follow me at ACEcast_nation, Facebook.com/ACEcastNation, YouTube.com/ACEpodcastNation. Please tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your wives, tell your husbands, get them to subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'd really like to get those numbers up on YouTube, because we have the views for this show, but we'd like to get the subscriber count up a bit higher to match it all, and to match Facebook, because we've got a lot more on Facebook. But we will be going live soon. We haven't decided an exact date. We did very nearly just do tonight live. Right as I went to press record, I said, should we just go live? I was like, yeah. But we decided against it. We thought we'd advertise it so it wasn't just me, Andy, and my mum watching it. So, but yeah, we will be going live soon. It's going to be won't make a difference to us because we record on a Monday, but it will be live on a Monday as opposed to when it comes out on a Wednesday, because that's when we're both available to do it. So, make sure you keep a lookout for that on the social media platforms, because then you can get involved in real time live chats and stuff and ask the questions, and be good interactive content, as it were. Andy, thank you for joining me, mate.
My pleasure, mate, and happy new year. Have a good one.
Indeed, same to you, pal. Happy new year to everyone. Thank you all for downloading, watching, commenting, all that good shit. Have a fantastic end to the year, and we will see you in 2020.
Keep us growing. Make us bigger. Make us bigger.
Oh yeah, and check out my I nearly almost forgot.
There you go. Check it out.
Nation t-shirt.
There you go. Boom, indeed.
I've already had people asking for them already.
Before
this show hasn't even got out yet, because it's Monday still.
Merchandise.
Someone already asked about it.